Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to HPANWO TV and welcome to this, the 57th comments reply video. This is the video where, as the title suggests, I get to reply to your comments. Now, in my comments reply videos, the reason I do this is because you guys leave comments on my videos and I really appreciate that. I feel obliged to reply, if only to tell you that I thank you for taking the time to write the comments. Some of the comments are very long and detailed as well, and I think you deserve a reply to that. And I don't have time to reply by text, it just takes too long. So these comments reply videos are how I do it. Now you might think, hang on a minute, this is a really long video you're making now, it's 9 hours. I only want to reply to one comment. I'm not going to wait, I'm not going to watch a 9-hour video just to get a reply to one comment. Well, guess what, guys? You don't have to. You see, firstly, my videos are, my comments reply videos are not 9 hours anymore. I did make one that was 9 hours once, but they're a lot shorter now because I do them more often. But also, I put whenever I'm addressing a particular comment, I put a little reply underneath the comment I'm addressing, which will tell you when, within the video, to the nearest hour, I'm going to be answering your comments. So, for example, this is what it says. It says, thanks for your comments. It will be answered approximately within the first hour of the upcoming comments reply video. That's what I'm going to post the moment I start answering comments. After an hour has gone by, I will do the same, but it'll be second hour, not first hour. So you see what I mean? See how it works? So the longest you're going to have to watch is 1 hour, and that's not too bad, is it? Another reason I do these comments reply videos is because I enjoy them. They're fun, and I know you guys enjoy them too. And many of you watch them all the way through. So that's why I do them. So let's begin with the comments on YouTube. Right. So, Patrick Patel is the first person to comment, and it's not actually on. It's not actually on the last comments reply video. It's on the UAPTF declassification live stream. Patrick says, Ben, by the way, you're an attractive looking dude. You're a big guy and most probably well endowed because you're a big guy. Stay positive and blessed. I'll try to, Patrick, but I'm blushing. I really am. I assume you're male, aren't you? You're called Patrick. You're not Patricia, are you? Well, if you are female, then obviously I'll regard that comment very differently. If you are male, then I'm very flattered and everything, but you see, I'm not that kind of bloke. I'm sorry. As for whether I'm well endowed or not, you'll have to ask Sue Stain. All right. Reply to comments 56. Here we go. I was almost going to put a love heart underneath Patrick's comments, but I thought I better not. That's got to be the best opening comment I've had on this entire channel. Okay, reply to comments 56. Steve71 says, hello Ben first. Alright, you get blown a kiss. There you go, you get blown a kiss. Everything Patrick said to me, I'm now saying to you. And Charles says underneath here, don't, Ben kept me talking over at Terry's. It's a stitch up, I tells ya. That's Charles from Project Camelot. Yeah, we were actually trading banter in the chat box on Terry Joyce's, not my rabbit hole with Terry Joyce's program. It's quite good fun. Since then, I mentioned this actually on the live stream. Charles and I have both been on a live stream with Terry. It was good. It was good fun actually. It was a great show. There's a couple of other people as well, including Kevin Moore. I don't know if he's actually quite a good presenter who does a program about paranormal stuff. It's pretty good. And Steve071 said, ha ha, Charles, must have been distracted. Well, it takes a lot to distract Charles from his super soldier psychic gangster mind powers, but it does happen. He's not infallible. As long as you're not playing him at golf, or you've got an organic garden. Steve071 says, you can't win them all, Charles. Better sort Ben out again. Charles says, yes, he got me distracted, sent one of his distractions. Maybe I should blow the whistle that Ben has hair and wears a bodysuit. He's really a slim hippie. That's right. Funny how when people want to abuse me, the trolls, they call me fat bald cunt or something. Right? Like I don't know. It's like I do have this sort of, I look in the mirror and I have this kind of like inverse anorexia where I see myself as some kind of slim guy with massive afro like Leo Sayer. Come and think it though. I mean, if anyone says, if anyone sort of has a go at me and says, "Oh, you're a bit overweight, Ben," I always reply this way. I always say, "Yes, but I self-identify as a slim person. I'm trans slender." Steve says to Charles, "There we go. I had my suspicions. I reckon he grows a nice afro and runs 10 miles a day." And Charles says to Steve, "Eagles race. They're young. They're young in it. That's right. And they're just pecking at the moment, trying to get out." And we have on the same video, Israel Diego Rivera Genius 2, the real genius, says, Jamie Wallace, first trans MP. Is that how he is? Yeah. Apparently he's quite sort of based about UFOs or something, I heard. I don't know. The first trans MP has a doctorate in astrobiology, commentary, panspermia. Yes, that's it. Which claims alien life created life on Earth. With this really being about transhumanism, it could mean mixing humans and aliens' DNA. I don't know, Jamie Wallace. All I hear about him is because he's the first trans MP. He doesn't look like he doesn't look kind of like he's a trans person. Actually, he just looks like a guy. I mean, it's hard to tell these days. Well, the definition of transgender has changed. But I'll just show you a photo of him. And there he is. I mean, I wouldn't obviously someone would have to tell me what his pronouns are, because I don't. I wouldn't look at him and think, "Oh, he's a she or a he." Or he looks like a man. He does. I can't help that. Is a career before politics? Does it say about early life and education? Born in Betis. He comes from Wales. Went to Aberkenfig Catholic School, Brenteg School, and then he read chemistry at Christchurch, Oxford. Oh, he's an Oxford man. Got he got a 2-1 degree, upper second class, and then he was awarded a doctorate in astrobiology from Cardiff University. Right, that of course is where Chandra Wickramasinghe studied, focusing on the evidence for commentary panspermia, supervised by Chandra Wickramasinghe himself. Okay, so he's a bit like he's part of that group which includes Fred Hoyle and Chandra Wickramasinghe. I'll keep an eye on this guy. He'd be a good guy to interview. Actually, I'd be interested to interview him about what he thinks about. I mean, I wouldn't go into the trans stuff. I mean, that doesn't really interest me. So I don't really want to talk to him about aliens. But he'd be a good person to interview. Reply to comments 56. Rick Horden says, "Can we really sustain the postponement of the They Live watch party? Stay tuned, folks." Yeah, well, it did sort of. I did get it done eventually, didn't I? Dark Corners UK. Obey. Steve071. Trust government. Yes. No independent thought. It did go ahead, of course. Yeah, but of course I went to Weird Weekend North between now and then. One of the reasons I'm doing this comment reply video a little bit early is partly because I'm going away next weekend, and this week's going to be very hectic. I've got to write an article for UFO Truth magazine. I've got to. What else have I got to do? I've got to interview a couple of people. I've got to be interviewed by somebody. So I want to get. If I don't get this done now, I'll have to wait till I come back from where I'm going. And that's going to be next Monday. So yeah. Gary Robinson says, I asked him about IMDb. Yeah. Hi, GetPen. I am Gary Robinson the 13th on IMDb. Cheers. Oh, right. Do you have a crown on your head? Do you get a coronation? Are you the son of Gary Robinson the 12th? Is it kind of like a lineage thing? A dynasty? I'll look you up. Hang on, let's have a quick look. IMDb. I'll show you his page if I can find it. I may not be able to find it, but I should be able to. Everything about movies is on this IMDb. Gary Robinson. Gary Robinson the 13th. Here he is. Yes, he's got Roman numerals after his name as well. Really, and very royal indeed, Gary. I didn't know Mexico had a monarchy, but obviously you are the king of Mexico in that case. And there you are, born September the 12th. 1976, Hemel Hempstead, Hertfordshire, England. And there's his filmography. Let's see if I've seen any of these. Oh, Batwoman, the TV series. Right. He does the music thing. Music department, composer, soundtrack. Oh, right, you compose music. See if I've actually watched any of these things. You've been doing this a long time, I can see. Let's have a look. I don't recognise any of these so far, I'm afraid, Gary. That's being said, I'm not like a big TV watcher, as you know. Oh, you've got loads. You've really got a big filmography here. Yeah. Battlestar Galactica. I did watch Battlestar Galactica, actually. It wasn't as good as the old 70s series, but it's still quite... Oh, V for Vendetta Unmasked. I think I saw that as well. You did the additional music. Oh, right, you are. Okay, well, thanks for that, Gary. As you said, you've offered your services as to me, and I'm very, very pleased about that. I'll see what I can do. I'm not sure I'll be able to afford you, but I will if I can, because it'd be good to have like a proper Hollywood composer composing her HPANWO TV tunes. I use stock music at the moment. Anyway, Steve Mumbling says on reply to comments 56 at 1:12:50 hours a timestamp. Let's have a look.
2 of 2, Steve Mumbling. You didn't answer the question.
Oh, right. Oh, okay, I know what this is about. You tell me yourself and the Apollo defectives didn't want to appear in the last Apollo defectives video due to solidarity with someone who had a death in the family. Yes, he's speaking publicly about it now, so I can tell you it's Jarrah White. He was his beloved grandmother died, who he was a carer for. He's currently trying to raise money to buy a house, which I hope he succeeds. I've helped him out. I've given him as much as I can. You felt subdued and weren't in the mood. It didn't prevent yourself and Neil appearing with your new fake scientist, though, did it? Why was that? How exactly is that demonstrating solidarity? It simply isn't true. Well, it is actually, you know, but I mean, it is solidarity. A lot of people didn't want to appear because of Jarrah. So I've got to scratch me back. I'm itching. But we realised that it had to be made. Raza had booked time off work to do this. He's a busy man, and so we got together and decided to me and Neil, our alone, would do this. So yes, it is. There's nothing untrue about that, Steve. I'd rather you didn't actually flog this dead horse. You know, just realise that. This is not the hill you want to die on, Steve, because this is about Jarrah and about his bereavement, which is very sad. And I hope you'll join me in feeling sympathy for Jarrah in that situation. If an Apollo believer went through that and they had the same problem, they lost someone they loved, I would feel sympathetic with them, and I wouldn't sort of like keep jumping up and down trying to make a point over it, score some kind of issue victory. So okay. Hope you'll understand. Reply to comment 56. Marky Boy says Zorro. That's lots of Z markings on those Russian tanks, Ben. Yeah, apparently this is apparently an additional form of identification because the Ukrainian and Russian military use the same vehicles. So to prevent blue-on-blue incidents, so-called friendly fire. They're actually doing this to identify themselves. I've noticed some people, like in Serbia, and they're wearing the letter Z on them, getting Z T-shirts and badges to show solidarity with Russia. Marky Boy says on the same video, NASA's founding origin is the JPL, which was Jack Parsons. Yeah, it's called the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. But it's actually JP may well stand for Jack Parsons as well, who started the whole thing up. When you look into his life and satanic practices, there are some strange details. He hung out with Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard. So much symbolism within NASA can be linked into satanic esoteric meanings. An interesting person to look at is Jack and his death was suspect as well, Ben. Yeah, there's a good book actually called Sex and Rockets, which sort of sums up his life, really. Jack Parsons was a student of Aleister Crowley, and he actually Crowley's kind of a father figure to him. He did hang out with L. Ron Hubbard, and what's more, there's a connection between him also and Robert Oppenheimer, who invented the first atomic bomb. There's a photograph actually with him, Hubbard. There's with Parsons, Hubbard, and Oppenheimer together. So they were associated with the. There was actually a Crowley. There was a Crowley headquarters in, I think it was Pasadena, California, where Jack Parsons spent a lot of time. They also carried out magical rituals in the desert. In one point, there's a quite sinister story, which is frightening if it's true. He and Hubbard, Parsons and Hubbard, went to Tickaboo Valley, and I think this was actually in 1947. They went to Tickaboo Valley and did a ritual in the Groom Lake area, and it involved Marjorie Cameron, the famous actress who was in the movies and things, and it was called the Babylon Working, or something very, very sinister like that. It had to be done in an out-of-the-way place because apparently a portal opened and entities came out or something. Maybe Roswell's connected with that. I don't know, because I don't know when in 1947 this happened, before or after July. But the books, there's also a film by Thomas Sheridan. What's it called? Hang on. All About Parsons, which is very interesting. It's a documentary movie he's made. Called, let's have a look. I'm trying to. I've been caught up on his channel. There's so much here. I can't find it now. Oh, wait, bloody blah. I'll probably be able to find it at some point. I'll just search for Parsons. It's called Liber Velocity, the apotheosis of Jack Whiteside's Parsons. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. It's pretty good. Apparently, Jack was a nickname. He's known as Marvel Whiteside. He was christened Marvel Whiteside Parsons. It's an odd name. Yeah, but his death, he actually was just killed in an explosion in his home. But some thought it was some kind of suicide. Others thought he was murdered. I can't remember the detail. But the book Sex and Rockets is worth reading. And Marky says again on the same video. Ben, P&O were Townsend Torreson. Oh, right. Go to Europe, Townsend Torreson. I remember that, yeah. I actually went on a couple of Townsend Torreson ships. Yeah, there's been some confusion because there's different P&Os. There's a Peninsula and Oriental Shipping Company, which is where P&Os. There's another P&O as well, and they've had to put out an advert saying it's not us when they sacked all those sailors and brought in immigrants. Do you remember that? Here we go. And people would be prudent to remember the mistakes that led to the sinking of the Herald of Free Enterprise in 1987. Yeah. The cause of the tragic and unnecessary deaths of 193 passengers and crew by a boatswain who fell asleep and did not close the bow doors. Hence they became known as P&O ferries to bury away this, and the European gateways capsizing also. Yeah. That was awful, the Herald of Free Enterprise. Yeah, the ship literally put to sea and didn't close the doors to the car deck, because this is a roll-on, roll-off ferry with there's a huge space like in the waterline. And they've often said that's quite dangerous anyway. So this accident was kind of predicted, to have a huge open space near the waterline. And it flooded. The compartment flooded, and the ship capsized. And the European Gateways capsizing. Yeah, that was another ship. Yeah, European Gateways. That was like a lorry carrier, I think. So now, through greed, their crews have been thrown on the employment scrap heap to replace by cheap labour. Heaven knows what a dangerous thing it could now be to take a trip on one of their ferries as a result of inexperienced, poorly paid crew members, possible mistakes or neglect. Exactly. It's absurd. It's disgusting. How dare they? They just want to save. They want to save a few quid, so they kick out their sailors. They make them redundant and immediately put the jobs up for like casual labour from the immigrant pool. Too many companies do this. The NHS does this, and the result is poor service and poor safety issues. He carries on. I certainly will never board one of their vessels again, neither for ethical reasons or for that of my own personal safety. Exactly, Mark. I mean, the ethical thing is enough. The very fact that they're doing such a horrible thing, so they treat their crews that badly. Having worked in that business many years ago, possibly very close to the company, it was common practice for staff to never book a cabin but reserve a reclining sleeping chair instead, as those boats were not considered safe in the first place around the office. All right. So yeah, it's easier to dash to the lifeboat, isn't it? If you're on a little, if you're just on a reclining seat on the upper decks, than it is if you're in a cabin at the bottom of the ship. You know. You've always got to be careful of people who do that. People on the inside who do certain things, certain habits, certain practices. People who know. You should always just watch what they do and let that be your guide. For example, the staff, the board of Monsanto, don't eat their own food. They don't eat genetically modified food. They eat organic food. That should be a little warning to you, shouldn't it? It should be a little clue. Steve Mumbling says on reply to comments 56. There isn't a shred of tangible evidence to support the 9/11 directed energy weapon nonsense. Oh, here we go again. Please provide a link to what you consider to be the best irrefutable evidence that a directed energy weapon was used, and I'll tell you what you're really seeing. All right, okay. You want a link, do you? Let's just have a look. How many reply videos have I made to Steve Mumbling on this subject? Let's have a look, shall we? And he asked me the same damn question again. Here we go. Here we go. Free energy in 9/11. A reply to Steve Mumbling. 29th of... Here we are. Let me show you them. There you go. 29th of January 2018. There we go. These are all the other subjects I've covered. Look how many subjects I've replied to him about. I've got to do another one of these, actually. So there's all these reply videos. This is the one. Free energy in 9/11. A reply to Steve Mumbling. How long is this video? It's 1 hour 26 minutes. Okay, is that not good enough, Steve? I mean, what points do you... Oh, let's just switch off display capture. Oh no, that's display capture. Sorry, I didn't put on display capture. Sorry about that. What did I do then? I've got video and audio capture going, all right. I must have clicked the wrong one. All right, look, here we go. I'll try that again. Let's try that again, shall we? Here we go. Here we are. Rua Space Force. It's Peter Paget. I did a reply on Peter. Oh yeah, I remember the Peter Paget. Here we go. Free energy 9/11. A reply to Steve Mumbling. Steve, rewatch that video. Feel free to comment or make your own reply. I mean, I should do another. I'd like to do another reply video to you actually, because they're such good fun. But just tell me where I go wrong there, because what you've just said, this comment you've just left, is something you and I have been talking about for years, and you just asked it again. You just you made the same comment. Charles then says underneath, a lot of kinetic energy was directed at the World Trade Center in the form of jumbo jets, exactly as the world saw it happening in real time. There was kinetic energy, yes, but apparently, it wouldn't have caused that effect in the form of these jets. They were. I think they were. Was they 777s or 737s? Not 747s, the jumbo jets. So slightly smaller than that, but they were airliners. They were large airliners. Apparently, that's what we saw strike the building. Instantly, there's a new thing come out. There's a new video been released, apparently showing the second plane hitting the tower. It's a bit like the Hezekiah film. It's taken from a similar location, but you know, it looks a bit dodgy to me. You can hear someone saying, "Oh, it's a United Airlines jet." What? Some people said the soundtrack. It sounds just suspicious, but if you look, I do recommend Andrew Johnson and Dr. Judy Wood and their analysis of exactly what happened when those planes allegedly hit the buildings and the kind of damage that was caused. It's worth doing that, Charles. Steve Mumbling says to Charles, to believe otherwise, you have to be gullible enough to believe the Queen of England is a shape-shifting lizard from outer space. Well, that's an interesting comparison there, because firstly, I do believe the Queen is a shape-shifting lizard. She's not from outer space, but she's from another dimension. But yeah, but you know, rather than saying you have to be gullible enough to believe something, that's a bit like, again, that's kind of what I've talked to you before about rhetoric, Steve. You know, I could say to believe to believe that 2 and 2 equals 4, you have to be gullible enough to believe that the Queen of England is a human being. Now, what does that statement mean? Because in terms of a logical equation, what you just said and what I just said are identical. You see, it doesn't deliver any explanation of why something is true or false. Charles said underneath, nobody would believe the Queen is a shape-shifting lizard from outer space, would they? Well, you know I do. You know I do. Same video, Steve mumbling. There isn't a shred of tangible evidence to support one alien species visiting the Earth, let alone many. Oh, Steve, we're going through all our old debates. This is like nostalgia, this is. It really is. You're taking me on a lovely little trip down memory lane. How many times have we debated this question? Even more than the free energy, directed energy one. Charles says underneath, I hear that Ben has concrete evidence for aliens using underground bases on Earth. Well, I don't have direct evidence of that, although I have looked into this. I mean, you may have seen my Peasmore videos, Charles. There's others such as Richard Sauder, who've done a better job than I have in that respect, and there's Miles Johnston as well and what he's done. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is amazing. Steve says here, there isn't a shred of tangible evidence to what's coming next. To support anything Peter Paget says. Oh, sorry, that's his next one. Support NASA faking the moon landings. Repeating Alan's absolute rubbish over and over again doesn't make it true. Well, as you know, Stephen, I think I've made 3 reply videos to you. 3 whole reply videos about the moon landings. And in the end I said, look, I had to actually say to Steve, look, I'm going to drop this now. Because I've made 3 reply videos to you. I just want to knock this debate on the head. Charles says under here, it's a double-edged sword, Steve. I don't want to live in a world without mumbling-isms. I know. I don't either. I mean, I rather miss Steve when he went quiet. I mean, I mean, you know, I don't want people posting comments all the time just agreeing with me. It's nice when people disagree. It makes these videos much more interesting. I mean, it's nice when people say, you know, I like the video and stuff like that. But anyway, TK says here on reply to comment 56. Seems to me you rely on science 100% when it helps your argument, but refute the science by referring people to a video when it disagrees with you. If I refute, no, TK, if I refer people to a video like one of my own, it's simply because I've already made the point I want to make. And say you watch that, and then I sometimes give a summary of my argument, and I say just watch this because I go into it in more detail. I go into it in more detail in that particular video. That's why. I'm not being selective here, and I mean, I mean, in a sense, I hope I am being scientific in the video I refer you to. TK goes on. Just see how often you quote the Milgram experiment as an example of you relying on science. Yeah, because I think that's very relevant to many of the points that come up in the course of these videos. The Milgram experiment I consider one of the most important ever done. And in terms of social psychology. When science disagrees, you just offer long-winded videos that certainly go nowhere near refuting the hundreds of years of science, which, for example, prove there is no such thing as free energy. Nonsense, TK, nonsense. The videos are long-winded because they contain a lot of information. And I mean, I don't just rip up the videos, I do discuss them as well in these comments reply videos. I do discuss them too. I don't just say, oh, we'll go and watch this video. I do try to get into debates with people about it. So, I mean, if you think within the long-winded or short-winded, whatever, or medium-length-winded content I'm actually putting on there, if you think I'm in a mistake, you could put a comment underneath that video explaining. TK says underneath, no comments on all of Old Tech. Have you been shadow banned there too? No, it's just I had none on. I think it was Odyssey. I didn't get any comments. My audience on Odyssey is not as big as YouTube. partly because it's easier. You can watch me on YouTube, so most people do. I usually get about a dozen or 2 dozen views per video after about a month over on Odyssey. BitChute slightly higher. Obviously, I think if I got banned from YouTube, obviously I hope you'd carry on watching me and go over to Alt-Tech to watch me there. David Smith says in reply to TK, it's the same with news outlets. The BBC are obviously lying about Russian politics, anything Russian stroke politics stroke anything as my beliefs. When they report on UFOs or something negative about refugees, then they're telling the truth, which backs up my belief. No. Firstly, I actually did discuss in the last video I discussed a particular news report on UFOs, which I did feel very suspicious about. It wasn't the BBC, it was the Sun, but she's basically just like the BBC with shorter words. But you see, you've got to ask yourself this. Okay, I'll challenge you to this, David, okay? If the BBC are not lying about Russia and things like that, why is it they seem to have a vested interest in silencing people who disagree with them? So, for example, when the BBC has been promoting a huge series of articles on its website and news programs and videos on its channel about the Ukraine war, they banned Russia Today. This is a state-funded and some people say a Putinist propaganda machine, which used to be available. It used to have a license to broadcast on all cable channels. It used to be on YouTube, and has now been basically blocked in this entire country. Now, it's obviously an attempt to prevent people watching it. I mean, the good news is in this day and age, they can't completely block anything. I mean, you can watch it through a VPN. But, I feel if you've got to ask yourself, why do they want to do that? Why do they want to silence their opposition? If I was unsure, if I was going around saying everything I say on my channel is true, if anyone disagrees with me, I'm going to block them and delete their comment. Will that make me sound more confident and more truthful, more confident I was correct, or more truthful, or would it make me sound less confident I was correct and less truthful? So those are interesting comments there. Now we have Charles from Project Camelot on Private Comments 56. It says, how can the first prize of being blown a kiss by Ben possibly be better than the second prize of getting to talk to Jam Noise 72? To hell with glory, I'm going with style. Charles, I'm sure you know. If I had a choice between kissing you and kissing Jam Noise 72, I'm sorry, mate, it would be Jam Noise 72. Apologies, but that's just the way it is. But then you probably said the same about me, wouldn't you? Same video, Charles. You fell for that Will Smith absolute rubbish. Chris Rock used to appear on TNA Wrestling. Jeff Jarrett made a video a few days ago telling everyone how they staged it. The Academy Awards has its lowest ratings ever after the Slap Skit subscription download suddenly went through the roof. It was a publicity stunt. Charles, I actually said that, didn't I? I didn't fall for it. Hang on. Oh, did I not say? Look, maybe I didn't. Maybe I actually did believe it for a while. But look, I've done an article here, Charles. Where is it? When did you post this comment? Because I'll just show you the article I wrote. Here we go. Wednesday, the 30th of March, 2022. You posted your comment on 2 weeks ago, which would. Well, I don't know how long ago that was. It's now today's the 17th of March. Anyway, I'll just show you the article here so you know what I'm talking about. Here we go. That slap. Everybody else is talking about it. I don't really want to. Frankly, I'm not interested. But in order to stop people asking for my opinion about it all the time, here goes. There's a lot of commentary on who was right or wrong. Why did Will Smith get so angry? What about Chris Rock's reaction? In my view, both of them were right and both of them were wrong. You see, the Oscar awards ceremony is far less popular than it used to be. In fact, its TV viewing figures dropped from 26 million in 2020 to only 10 million in 2021, well under half the previous year. That's a cataclysmic loss of interest in the space of just 12 months. The Academy must have been terrified by this and would have been tempted to take desperate action to lure the public into watching again. This is why they staged this altercation. So I knew. Hang on, you didn't put it? Oh, Snarnock put a comment on here. Anyway, so Charles, if I said otherwise in If I said otherwise in this reply to comments video 56, when did I make that video actually? Let's just have a look. It must have been before the 30th, actually. It must have been. Yeah, it was. Oh, it's the 30th. No, it was the 31st. So, Charles, I don't know why. If I did that, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. If I said what you're saying I said, I don't know why I did that. Because, to me, I actually just before I posted this video, I'd already written an article saying just what I've just said. So I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that. Alright, here we go. Stephen Mumbling says in reply to 56. Deleting my comments again, Ben. I must have touched a nerve. Do you have to do a video? Do I have to do a video of me posting this comment again to prove you're deleting it? At 12:15, you say the lack of defectives in the last Apollo was because you. Hang on. This is just repeating the same thing. All right. You're repeating the same things you said earlier, and I send. Someone called Baron Greenback commented, I can't see. And I said, what are you talking about, Steve? This has nothing to do with comments. Neil and I, okay, we've been through that. Neil and I decided to do a mini show with Raza. We were not in the mood for a full parallel program. Steve says, at 2 hours, 47 minutes, 31 seconds. That's hardly mini, is it? Now, Baron Greenback, who I can't see, Steve replies to him, according to Holt, the star of the show wasn't even there. I haven't seen a good science fiction film for ages, so I'm looking forward to it. Oh, this, I think, is something to do with Capel Green. And Baron Greenback, if for some reason I can't see, has made a comment about Capel Green. Charles says to me, can confirm comments are going missing. Pretty sure it's not the Mandela effect. And Charles, I know. Steve is really. I think Steve is now. Steve says I'm deleting my comments just to wind me up. Now he knows very well I'm not deleting comments. I've just checked the spam folder. I've liberated all the comments that were in there. I don't know what else I can do. I don't know why they're disappearing like this. I really don't. I recommend backing them up. Cut and paste them into a Word document, so you can always post them again if you need to. But I have reported this to YouTube. You know what they're like. Charles says on reply comments 56. If skeptics are willing to write pages and pages about the moon landings, then bloody well read them. Oh well, I have. I've read things by James Oberg. He's actually going to produce. He's supposed to be writing a book about this. Originally he was on a commission from NASA. They actually cancelled his commission, and he just said he's going to write it anyway and publish it independently. So when that happens, I will read it and I'll review it. In fact, Charles, I mean, on the Apollo Detective series, we talk about the various pro-Apollo supposed debunking programs. And Charles says here on the same video, so, Ben, you say that skeptics need to be nicer to you and will change your mind. Did you know that you were helping the Earth with all your steaming piles, Ben? The steaming piles fertilize the soil to grow food. Steaming piles also provide jobs for steaming pile sanitizers, so they can provide a service to humanity. Your absolute rubbish can be recycled and made into nice jewellery. For all the New Age hippie types. In fact, Ben, you produce so much absolute rubbish that many have furnished their homes with useful items they reclaimed from absolute rubbish and live in comfort for it. You're a credit to humanity providing so much raw material in this way. Oh my God! Yeah, Charles, you should do proper comedy. I know your channel has a lot of comedy in it. You could do like a series or something. You really could. Reply to comments 56. David Smith. Ben, lots of channels are shadow banned, quote unquote. Only typing their name directly will bring up the content. It's not specifically related to conspiracy stuff, but just anything not too mainstream probably gets sidelined. I know there are other things that are shadow banned as well, which are considered inappropriate, and I think that's wrong. YouTube shouldn't be like that. I don't believe anything should be shadow banned. Charles says underneath, priority is given on channels that make YouTube the most ad revenue. There's no conspiracy, it's just business. Well, that is certainly true that they will favour channels from which are monetized, which they always get a cut of. But there is a conspiracy. It's not just about business, because they've actually admitted, Charles, this is not conjecture. They've actually said they want to lower the profile of channels with certain materials on them, subject matters. They've actually said that. So it's not just business, and they themselves admitted that. David says to Charles, exactly. It amazes me when people who advocate for things like a free market complain about businesses doing what they want to game the system. In a dream world of in the dream world of Stefan and the like, this would be the norm. Oh, Stefan Molyneux, I think you mean, yeah. Keep people busy and buying so they don't rock the boat for the wealthy. This is why I always say, if there's ever a New World Order, Ben is in support of it. No, you see, the thing about it is, like, yeah, YouTube, you could say, is a private company and do whatever they want. It's interesting, actually, when the people who often say that are the same people who had to go at Ash's Bakery in Belfast because they wouldn't bake a cake for a gay wedding. And this place was surrounded by protesters. They were sued by a couple who wanted two men who wanted a cake for their wedding. And you know, this is a private company. Why can't they do what they like? That's firstly. Secondly, there is actually an argument to suggest that YouTube are a public utility. They could be classified as a public utility, similar to gas and electricity, or water. So, in other words, just because they're a private company, they are so fundamental to people, to the society, that they therefore take on the role of a public utility. There's also another argument, which is, if they're a private company, they can do whatever they like. Why is it when people they don't like jump ship and go to alt tech, they do their best to attack the alt tech sites? Look what they've been doing. Look what they did to Parler. I mean, well, Parler, I think, was left the drawbridge completely wide open, signing up with Amazon. I mean, that was a joke. That was half-hearted. But look, they're trying to prevent Gab. They're trying to say that Gab shouldn't appear in certain nations. They're trying to block Gab. Germany wants to ban Telegram. These are private companies. Why can't they do what they want? Why can't people do what they want and go to whichever platform they like? Do you see the double standards, David? They're everywhere. Charles says underneath, lol, this is where Ben hasn't quite figured out the content of his own videos. Good old Ben only started talking about being shadow banned when YouTube went all corporate and started pushing monetization really heavily. That's all it's ever been about. No, Charles, for the reasons I've just explained. Firstly, YouTube has told us that's not what it's all about. Secondly, my shadow banning took place sometime in the spring of 2018. I made an entire video about that, about exactly why, exactly when, and how by such a considerable, I got a considerable drop in the number of views I was getting. Charles said on replying to comments 56, something weird is happening with the comments. Yeah, I reported it to YouTube. I actually say, what's that? And he says they're vanishing over a wall with a guy in a striped jersey and a bag that says swag. Yeah. Probably Laurence Olivier's it's probably Michael Caine and Laurence Olivier's trying to chasing him with a gun. Do you know do you know the reference there? Do you get it? David Smith says to Charles, Where's Wally? Wally has gone rogue? Charles says, we borrowed him yesterday afternoon. Oh my God. Being borrowed by Charles doesn't sound very good. Yeah, I'm just going to borrow you. I'll bring you back in a minute when I just played golf with you. Have you got an organic garden, Wally? So, yeah, I hope you gave him back, Charles. But to be honest, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on with these comments. I really don't, and I'm very sorry. I'm not deleting any. Steve Mumbling just keeps repeating that just to be bitchy. I'm just going to ignore him actually when he does that next time. And I'm certainly not deleting any. The only ones I delete are the ones that are downright rude or abusive, and some spam as well. I delete as well. Weird Weekend North, part 1 of 2, new video. Darren Retro first. Mwah! Well done, Darren. Can some nice-looking lady actually be the first for a change? Because then I can kiss. I can blow a kiss to someone I actually want to kiss. Same video, Rick Horden. Second! No prizes for second place, I'm afraid. Gary Robinson said third. I wonder what you get for being third, apart from a T-shirt that says "World's Biggest Loser." Dark Corner says to Gary, underrated comment. And here we go. Charles says, my Mojo is on the fritz. All right, this is on Weird Weekend North Part 1 or 2. Yeah, what a Mojo is? A Mojo is some kind of evil spirit, isn't it? Let's have a look, because I mentioned Mojo in the video. I remember Mojo. What is a Mojo? All right, I'll just put Mojo definition. I'm not on. Check. I'm not on screen capture. A Mojo, a magic charm, talisman, or spell. Influence, especially magical power. What's the slang name of the word Mojo? Mojo originally referred to some kind of magical charm or amulet of African origin, though the etymology is hard to trace. It may be related in both form and meaning to Mokoko, a word for medicine man in Futa, a language from West Africa. All right, it's interesting. Yeah. Zombie comes from West Africa as well, as I explained. But your Mojo is on the fritz. On the fritz. That may be a reference to something in the video I don't remember, Charles, so you'll have to remind me. Weird Weekend North Part 2 of 2. First, let me just plant my lips on your bald head. Oh, it's not really bald, is it? I just got some hair in my mouth. Rick Horden, rightfully. Charles, it's inevitable. Rick, sure as eggs are eggs. Charles, as sure as Ben exudes tin foil. Dark Corners, same as it ever was. Charles, 'twas ever thus. Part 2 of 2. Why do you call it the Roswell Trilogy when you wrote 4 of them? I didn't, I wrote 3. Roswell Rising, a novel of disclosure. Roswell Revealed, a world after disclosure. And Roswell Redeemed, humanity after disclosure. David Splendid Isolation, how you doing, David? What do you think the 4 are? Dark Corner says a quadrilogy. I think quartet is the name. I think you can say quadrilogy. David says, yeah, I mean in name. Yarlan says, homage to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy, perhaps. There are 5 of these, yeah. I got the box set of the books. There's always 5. No matter, it was always called the trilogy, and Adams kept calling it a trilogy as he added more and more books. Charles says, mostly harmless. Used to be harmless, now it's mostly harmless. But Ford Prefect has added, he's after spending 13 years on Earth after being stranded, he's added mostly to it. Yeah. But I haven't written 4. Why do you think I haven't written 4, Charles? I've written 5 novels all in all. But the 3 of them were the Roswell trilogy. The first 2 were Evans Land and Rockall, which were 2 separate stories. They're both of them standalone stories. A Weird Weekend North Part 1 of 2. Stephen Truthseeker. Hey, Stephen. Not heard from you for a while. I know Stephen. I've actually met him. There was a sighting of those strange people, all in white, with peaked hoods in the middle of the night, in a park around the Wirral around midsummer in the early 90s. They were dancing and doing a ritual around a small stone circle. Stephen, that's interesting, because that was one of the speakers. Was it Ron Gandy was talking about that? About how there is some kind of secret society with their dress and their practices are similar to the Ku Klux Klan. But they were called what were they called? The not the Cheeky Boys. What were they called? The Something Boys, based on the song. But have you seen them yourself? Because it could be that it's still an active group. I went off with Ellis Taylor once, trying to pursue a secret society in Oxford once. That was fun. I made a video about it. It was called St. Fried's Night. I did it twice actually. 1 of 2 Weird Weekend North. Diego Vera says, do you consider yourself psychic, Ben? I would say no. However, I've had minor psychic experiences. I have. I've actually talked about them in some of my videos. Diego Rivera says on 2 of 2, the aliens are within our own minds. No, they're not. No, they're not. They are out there. Diego Rivera says, was it a bald bloke convention? There was a distinct absence of cranial hair among the men at this event. There was me, there was the other Ben with the kilt. Richard Freeman's a bit of a slaphead. I know what you mean, yeah. Oh, Araminta Mooncrow. Hi, Araminta. How are you doing? I actually met Araminta. I explained, didn't I, that I met Araminta? Oh, it's actually a thread. Sorry, part 1 of 2. The OP is actually Zythantiops. Hi, Zythantiops. Hello again. Hey Ben, I just wondered what the principles regarding not wearing a winter coat were or are. I'm not one to have a go at someone else's principles. It was just seeking some clarifications. Thanks. Yeah. Zythantiops. It was. I suppose I am quite a stubborn person. And even though I'm dealing with something inanimate and something out of everyone's control, which is the weather, or unless you go into the old the cloud seeding thing, but I won't go into that now. Just assume it's just natural weather. I just want to stick 2 fingers up at Providence. So I put away my winter jacket. You got a nice little bit of spring, and suddenly it goes cold again. You get frost. There's snow up north. Snow in early April. It's very rare in this country. But I just thought, no, fuck you. I'm gonna wear my hoodie and just have my waterproofs. And to be honest, I didn't get that cold. Araminta says, without wishing to appear presumptive, I suspect Ben's winter coat principle is something along the lines of not wanting to get winter clothing out when it's meant to be almost summer. Yeah. Araminta, to be honest, and Zythantiops, to be honest, it's also I'd have to bloody. I like it. I've washed it now, and I don't want to put something on when I've washed it. If it's going to be sitting around in my bag, which is where I keep all my clothes. Yeah, I'm very untidy. I just have a big bag of my clothes. I don't actually have a wardrobe. I don't want it. I don't want it just sitting around after I've worn it. I need to wash it again. And she carries on. A sort of antidote to the old saying, cast ne'er a clout till May be out. Yeah, it's that means don't put, don't walk around in a t-shirt or something until it's the end of May or early June. I believe there is some debate as to whether May in this context refers to May the month or the Maythorn flowers. All right, yeah. Either way, I think it's Scottish, isn't it, Araminta, that saying? Cast ne'er a clout till May be out. I can understand Scottish. Don't know what it means. Either way, I think it's a shame Ben has this particular principle because I really like Ben's winter coat, especially if it's the one he wore when he did his excellent Cashless Society speech in Oxford. Oh, thanks, Araminta. That is a good one actually. That was a present from a client actually, and it's very good. It's lighter than my other winter jacket, so it's better for the sort of warm. We tend to get like very sort of mild, wet winters here in southern England, and it's probably better for that. Personally, I'm just glad he survived that bloody dangerous road. I could barely watch the bit where he had to cross the junction. Oh, Araminta, I'm sorry to worry you. I actually did discover the pavement the following day. There is actually a pavement there which I used, as you'd have seen watching it. Rod says on Weird Weekend North Part 1 of 2. Hi Ben, I don't know why you haven't got millions of subscribers. Oh, Rod, thank you. I always watch and listen, and sometimes just listen when turning in for the day. I found your commentary really interesting, and to be honest, quite relaxing, as I normally fall asleep before the end of your videos, but the next day I always recap and catch up on everything I might have missed. Down to earth, very gentle in the way you always present the content. Keep up the good work. Thanks very much, Rod. Thank you. You're getting a love heart for that, and I appreciate that. I really do. And there's obviously plenty more coming. Weird Weekend North Part 1 of 2. What am I doing for time, just out of curiosity? Oh, I know. My new phone, I've got the timer on my new phone, but it's a bit annoying. Only 5 minutes to go. David Splendid Isolation says, in terms of predicting the future from Bible codes, that doesn't seem to be as true. What is absolutely true is the skip sequences do exist in the Bible. I don't think they do, David. Now, there is encoded information in the Bible. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The Bible as we know it, the English translation, the King James Version, the English one, and indeed the original Latin one and the Hebrew one, the Torah in Hebrew, and the original Greek Gospels all have encoded information into them. It's interesting going into the history of the Bible, where it comes from. all the different. I mean, there was a porter once who actually was actually a student of. I don't think he was a theologian, but he was studying the Bible, and he said it's really amazing. He says the things, like for example, the stuff at the beginning is some of the newer, like the Book of Genesis. Some of the text in the Book of Genesis is actually much newer than what's in the Book of Revelations at the end. But so there is encoded information to do with numerology and astrology or astronomy. I've spoken before about the numbers that keep repeating: 12, 40, 7. These numbers keep repeating in the Bible. There's also astrological symbolism as well. We all know, Ralph Ellis has talked about this, about how in the beginning they talk about the golden calf and things like that, which indicates that this relates to the old kingdom of Egypt, and they had a god called Khnum, which in astrology, of course, was the age of Taurus in terms of retrograde precession. Then we moved into the age of Pisces. No, we moved into the age of Aries. So the very earliest reference to the Bible is way back in the age of Taurus. Then the age of Aries, which was from about the age of Aries around from about 1500 BC to the time of Christ. And what were the Old Testament prophets? Were shepherds, weren't they? And the shepherds came to Jesus' birth. Jesus represents the beginning of the age of Pisces. And what very, very interesting recurring symbol is in the Gospels? Fish. Fish come up again and again in the Gospels, don't they? There's the feeding of the 5,000 with fish and loaves. The apostles were fishermen, weren't they? The first apostles he went to the Sea of Galilee, didn't he, where they were fishermen? You know, David, and then what did Jesus say? He talked about the second coming. He said, "Look for me where you see a man carrying water." Well, you know, water bearing was a woman's job in those days, but it obviously refers to the age of Aquarius, which is beginning pretty much about now. I mean, astrologers disagree on it, but yeah, I know that Gali Lucy, this lady from Israel, she says I think it's 2200 the age of Aquarius begins. Others say it began in the 1920s. I don't know. It's not exact. Sorry, but see, I've only actually started reading your comment. You've got a lot more to say here, but I would say I think the Skipco Michael Drosnin's theory was debunked. They don't predict the future, but they show the fingerprints of the divine in their construction. The calculation work of Ivan Panin, years before computer technology was available, shows this quite starkly. He did all the work by hand. The name of God, encoded in the first 5 books of the Old Testament, the Torah, is probably the most famous, but there are many other examples, and even ones being newly discovered today. I do recommend reading up on his work and his discoveries, contemplating the significance. Right, I've not heard of him, David. I know nothing about this, so I won't comment any further on that. It could be for real. I know it's interesting when it comes to the actual name of God. The name in the King James we have the word God, and there's various translations in all the modern vernaculars. Dieu in French, Dieu in Welsh, God in Dutch, Gott in German, etc. Is that in some parts of the Bible it's a different word. It's not Yahweh, that is the Hebrew God. It's Elohim. Im is being a plural word with im on the end, like cherubim and seraphim. Hebrew does that in the same way English adds an s to the end of a word to create the plural, which is gods, not God. And Ian Ross Vero and people like that have said a lot about that. Anyway, Charles says underneath, rubbish. Do you know the Bible codes was exposed as a hoax immediately, don't you? Charles, I don't think it was a hoax. I think Drosnin actually believed it, especially when he came across this phrase saying Yitzhak Rabin, the assassin that will assassinate. And he actually contacted Rabin, who was the Prime Minister of Israel. This is referenced directly to the death of the Prime Minister of Israel. And what happened? Rabin was shot. That could be a coincidence, but I think it's maybe what actually did convince Drosnin that he was onto something. I think he was mistaken, but I don't think it was a hoax. Part 2 of 2, David says. David Splendid Isolation. Our Bible translations in English say in our image. The Hebrew word Elohim is used with a singular noun, which isn't conventional unless you're referencing a plural or a singular. Who does that we know of? Well, no, it's the translation is a singular word in the King James. God. Whoops. Oh, that's a nice new thing. Okay. All right. That's the end of the first hour, anyway, guys. I'm about halfway through, but you know, I always tend to underestimate how long these videos taken. But anyway, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'll carry on now, David, because I actually didn't finish answering your question, so I should have just ended that anyway. But you say the Hebrew word Elohim is used with a singular noun, yeah, and you're referencing a plural or singular. All I'm saying is the translation is a singular, yeah. It translates into a singular word in all modern vernaculars, and indeed the Latin. The King James came from the Latin. Who does that we know of? Christians who understand the nature of God as plural, as triune, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. One God, three persons. Oh yeah, God in three persons. I remember that hymn. That's it. It's called the Trinity, and the idea is there's the Father Creator, there's the Son Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, which you baptize with the Holy Spirit, etc. It's a common kind of theology. Now, I don't think the word Elohim actually refers to the Trinity, because the word Elohim is also mixed with the word Yahweh. Yahweh is God in Hebrew. It's the God of the Jews, and so you have these two words, not one, and the translations come from both. I think the book of Genesis, Elohim is mentioned quite a bit, but then later on you have Yahweh. I think after Abraham and Moses you have Yahweh. I'm not sure exactly. Ian Ross Vero is a good author to write about that. I know you yourself are a devout Christian, I know that. And David says here on part 2 of 2 Weird Weekend North, those PIFs were super scary. Oh, public information films were super scary back when I was a kid. They even told us all not to run. Oh, right, this was... is this the Green Cross Code, man? Green Cross Code. Here's another PIF. Here we go.
You never know what's round the corner.
Here we go. Oh, I'll let you see this, because these are really funny. Here we go.
You never know what's round the corner. So don't run.
Don't run. Oh dear, you can't do anything, can you? Oh dear, David, that's it. It's really you know, people go complaining about the nanny state in the modern world. That's 1973. It was a nanny state. You know, it's just common sense. You know, it is quite hilarious, actually. You know, I mean, of course, that kind of accident can happen. But what are you supposed to do anyway? Yeah, Weird Weekend North 2022 Part 2 of 2. Lisa Cry Freedom. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Here you go. This is another PIF, I think. Oh, it is. Yes. Oh, hang on. Ads. Oh, this is one. Okay, I won't show you this. It's from 1989. It's a bit after the sort of golden age of ads. It's about a guy climbing up a pylon. There was another. The one I was thinking of was it's an early one from the 70s about a boy who's playing with a kite by the pylon, and they say, "Oh, don't play with kites by pylons because they can actually conduct the electricity down to you." And then you see the next thing you see him falling down, and his body wasn't burning. It wasn't quite as bad as I remember it, but he's surrounded by fire. That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. You know, it really did. But thanks, Lisa. Thanks. That's one from 1989, but it's in the kind of tradition of the public information film. Yeah. Reply to comments 56. David Smith. I did like the part where you read the Flat Earthers' comments and become skeptical. Well, I've got to be skeptical about something, David, haven't I? How the Flat Earther sounds to you is how you sound to the skeptics. I can well believe it, David. I can well believe it. But it is nice to see you applying skepticism honestly. I just don't think you do the same to your own beliefs. Whenever, well, I think I do, David. You see, I mean, I'm open to discussion if you think otherwise. I mean, I'm willing to debate with people to the skeptical side of me as I am to people to the woo-woo side of me. That's what I do with you. Whenever you mention proof, it always seems to rely on witness claims, and claims are not great evidence. It depends. It depends. They can be. If, for example, lots of people see the same thing, it's a multiple sightings, in places like Rua, for example. My claim is my alien box contains very special alien material. I give you my word. Interested, or are you skeptical? That's a bad. I know what the point you're making. This is like the pink unicorn argument. Do you know what I've done? I haven't actually started the timer. Oh, hang on. I'll take a few minutes off. Hang on. I'll say 55. No, hang on. How does this work? Oh, hang on. Okay, so I'll say 55. There we are. 55 minutes. There we are. Okay, so right. It's the pink unicorn argument. All right. Well, if you can't prove. This idea. I mean, I did cover this in my skeptic talk. They say, well, I can't prove, you can't prove the non-existence of Bigfoot. So I can't prove Bigfoot doesn't exist. You can't prove Bigfoot doesn't exist. So therefore, well, I win by default. I'm not just proving a negative you can't do. And then this is why the reply the skeptic will give is, okay, well, I've got an invisible pink unicorn that lives in my pocket. Or another one is, there's an invisible teapot orbiting Mars right now. You can't prove they're not there, can you? Well, they obviously exist then. That's bad logic, and I don't endorse that. So what I think you're suggesting is that I'm doing so when I am not. So it's a very bad metaphor you've given here to try and illustrate my own position. David Smith says underneath in reply to himself. Just to add, if you're skeptical, can you prove my box doesn't contain anything alien? As I've just answered that. Charles says underneath, I'm not sticking my hand in to find out. Well, I probably wouldn't either. David says to Charles, doesn't have to be your hand, Charles. That's it. Fair enough, yeah. Weird Weekend North, part 2 of 2. Lisa says, Lisa Cry Freedom. Do check out what... Oh, bloody hell, I've got to scroll down again now. She said something about children experiments. Hang on. Bloody. Here we go. No. Keep going. Hang on. Oh, my God, come on. Okay, Lisa says here, they're doing experiments on children in schools right now, Ben, hey? It never stopped. Humanity in the great big Petri dish. Yeah, that's true. Where do we get North part 2 of 2? Bloody hell, Ben. Eating lard. Oh, God, the eating lard. Yeah, the official video should be out, actually, by now. Rick Horden says there can be only one. The same video, Rick Horden said, 2730. The 70s didn't really exist until the early 90s. Yeah, that's true. Fantastic Bennyism. Bemlimism. That's Matthew Williams calls me now. Fantastic Bemlimism, Ben. I agree that there is something generally spooky about growing up in the 70s. Haunted generation indeed, sir. Thanks, Rick. Yeah. Yeah, it's so we don't really understand what a decade means until a certain amount of time has passed. So we look back on it in a certain way. So, in 1981 there was no such thing as the 70s. Of course, it existed. It was the decade just gone, but people didn't think of it that way. It was only like until probably the 90s and the 10 years had passed that people started looking back at the 70s as a phenomenon in the way we do today. Lisa says on the same video, since none of us can really be 100% sure about anything in this place, what's the point of getting angry with anyone? Well, exactly. I don't actually get angry with people who think differently to me. I get angry with people who are dickheads. Rick Horden says, why on earth, this is the same video, 2 of 2, why on earth would anyone ban you from a conference, Ben? Short-sighted fools. Oh, thank you very much, Rick. I thought it was a bad move. Presumably the organizer of OLM just didn't want any trouble breaking out there. I tried to reassure them that there'd be no trouble, but Yeah. Never mind, you have plenty of other conferences to go to. You know, it's not the end of the world. That's just one conference, and there's going to be quite a lot this year. Actually, well, if you keep watching, you'll see my reportages. Dark Corners UK says they're just jealous of Ben's lard-eating prowess. No, may the lard be with you. Praise the lard. We have Kev Baker R.I.P. Emerald Moon says sadly missed. Yeah, he is Emerald. I know. Funnily enough, someone shared it made me feel tearful actually. Someone shared a video from Kev's channel on Facebook, and they contacted me and they said how much they enjoyed the show. And I watched all of it, and then I realised I looked at the dates, 15th of December. It was the Kev Baker show on the 15th of December. Jimmy Jeans was on there too. That's the last show I ever did with Kev. 2 weeks later, he was dead. Yeah, Dark Corners, Weird Weekend North, Part 2 of 2. Dark Corners UK says, hey Ben, I'm not technically a member of the Haunted Generation. However, I do remember the public information films you spoke of being shown on TV in the 80s as a kid. Especially the Beware Deep Water one with the Grim Reaper, and the one with the kid in the frisbee and the electric pylon. I think the kid's name was Johnny. Also, Threads, that shit still haunts me to this day. Yeah, I mean, they may have been repeated in the 80s, Dark Corner. I don't remember them very well. I'm sort of late Haunted Generation myself, so I remember the 80s better than the 70s. Yet, yeah, there was the Grim Reaper one. It was slightly before my time. That was early 70s, but it really used to screw the kids' heads up. I mean, how many kids are saved from drowning? I don't know. Some of them might have drowned themselves out of fear. But the kid with the frisbee in the electric power station, that's yeah. She says, Johnny! And then it's announced in the news on the radio that he's died. Rick says underneath, Rick Horden, there appears to be something ceremonial about the wheeling in of the large television on legs into the hall classroom in schools too. Yeah. We had a TV room in my first school, but in middle school there was a TV in the class. They used to keep it in the cupboard, like big old TV, a CRT, big boxy CRT thing with a bit sticking out the back, and it was on a trolley, and they'd wheel it in. It was a big TV, like a 25-inch screen or something, so that everyone could see it. And we plug it in, and it was like one of those ones where it was warm to the touch because it was a CRT. And so there's no real heat coming off this monitor because it's LCD, the modern ones. But this was like a big boxy thing, and you used to plug it in, and there'd be like a video recorder. Sometimes later on, there was a video recorder underneath. Get a job, you lazy scroungers, Part 1. Will Always Telehandler says, scumbag office staff in the job centre, terrible place. They try to wind you up as much as they can, and you're at your lowest point anyway. They know that. Then they start to mental abuse you. Nasty staff and corrupt staff. You know, Will, it was actually exposed. There was a whistleblower from Inside Job Centre Plus saying, you know, that they were trained to do that. Especially if someone was a bit vulnerable, if they were mentally unsound, or English wasn't their first language, for example, which is a lot of people these days. They would take advantage of those people, trying to engineer situations where they could sanction them. I mean, who could even do? I mean, I just don't get it. You know, people must be like pseudo psychopaths. I mean, most people are pseudo psychopaths. You know, that phrase. Oh, how do they sleep at night? Because they don't give a shit. Because they don't care about. They never ask themselves, is this fair or unfair? Only a minority of people even think that. So I wouldn't be able to do a job like that. I'd refuse. And Will says on the same video, good shout, young man. Thank you very much, Will. Thank you. I'm not. That's an old video. I'm not as young as I was in that video, although I must say I haven't changed much in appearance, which is nice. Weird Weekend North, Part 2 of 2. No wonder Ben didn't want any lunch after eating all that lard. Oh God, don't remind me of the lard. Now, this is Part 1 again of Get a Job, You Lazy Scroungers. Andrew, it's a different person now. Oh, I've done it again. Every time I just make a mistake with the mouse. I've got to scroll down. I wonder how long. It just goes. I mean, I've got quite a few more comments to do. This will probably go to 3 hours, not 4. My guess is. Andrews Struth says, I feel for long-term unemployed, their days must be a drag. Maybe if the government could allow them to do jobs to earn their benefits, like cleaning sewers, dredging canals, etc., jobs that ordinary people would shrink from. Well, no, you see, because I think I explained in the... I've done this several times. Anyway, I'll carry on. I'll let you carry on. However, these types of people don't mind removing filthy garbage, etc. They probably live amongst it all the time. Any self-respecting unemployed person would spend their time educating themselves. But these people were born like this. Just take this man who is talking. He's not looking for work. He's just talking into a camera, whinging about Thatcher, who did a marvellous job for the unemployed. This guy's not seeking work. His benefits should be stopped. Very lazy and obviously not fit for anything decent to come his way. Basically, prison is the best place for him. Oh, fuck off, twat. Right, alright, I am going to deconstruct this, obviously a provocative, insulting comment you just left there, Andrews. Right, firstly, you say that that long-term unemployed should be made to do, or you say allow, the government could allow them to do jobs to earn their benefits, like cleaning sewers, dredging canals. Okay, well, the word for that, if you're taking away euphemisms, is slavery. It's called slavery. The people who do that would become civic slaves, and I know it's happening. Like it's called voluntary work to earn job seekers allowance, for your job seekers allowance. It's conditional on receiving job seekers allowance. That you have to work like 12 hours a week somewhere. Now, the problem with that is, the ethical problems is enormous. You're simply getting people to do work for no money. That's called slavery. And it's no wonder the price of... the reason slavery was abolished in the first place is because basically Industrial Revolution and the cost of labour went up. And yes, wokist, it was white people who did this. White people ended slavery. White people weren't the only slave owners, and we ended slavery, so up yours. Secondly, so the ethical side of it is awful. The ethical side is making people work for no money is unethical. Secondly, it increases unemployment. This is the horrible irony. This is what these jackbooted kind of like get a job you lazy scrounger people don't realise. When you tell people, well, make them work then. If they've got a job, they're obviously lazy. That's the only reason they're unemployed is because they're lazy. Oh yeah, as the previous commenter said, being unemployed is bloody awful. It's a nightmare. It's I've never been long-term unemployed, but people who are really hate it, especially men. The idea that we earning our own money earning our own living is like essential to our manhood. It's part of our identity. But what happens is, you see, what happened is there are already people paid in paid employment to clean sewers and dredge canals. But ordinary people don't shrink from those jobs. They do them. What you'd have to do, though, in order to create vacancies for these slaves, and I'm going to use that word, and this actually happened during when they trialled these schemes, is that you have to make people redundant in order to create those vacancies. There's even this horrific case of a woman who was made redundant from her job in some pound shop. A couple of weeks later, she went on a JSA, signed on, went on a JSA, then she was back in the same shop doing the same job for no money and just getting her JSA on the side. These people are civic slaves. As for your personal attack on me, right? First of all, I don't think I mentioned Margaret Thatcher in this video. I actually look back on Margaret Thatcher a bit more favourably than I used to. Although, let's face it, she's friends with Jimmy Savile and all that sort of thing. But in terms of economic policy, maybe I was wrong about her in the old days when I was a trade unionist. You say I'm not seeking work and my benefits should be stopped. Well, first of all, when I made that video, I was a full-time hospital porter. Since then, I've been in full-time employment ever since. I've never claimed benefits, apart from when I used to claim housing benefit when I lived in a home with my daughter. Basically, prison is the best place for him. Oh, really? Well, if you want to live in a society where people get locked up for doing what I'm doing, well, the whole world's a prison anyway. So go fuck yourself, Andrews. You're an idiot. But I quite enjoyed replying to your video. That was amusing. Weird Weekend North 2022 Part 2. Steve mumbling. Big Dogman and Bigfoot. PMSL. Do people really pay money to be fed this absolute rubbish? Oh, right. Well, firstly, there's nothing... Again, Steve, Rhetoric, no argument. If you think Dogmen and Bigfoot is PMSL, explain why. Explain why we're wrong. Why do you think these things don't exist? Have you ever seen the Yowie, by the way? That's like a Bigfoot-like creature that lives in Australia. Have you heard of that? David, that's just one word. David says underneath, Steve, let's say for argument's sake that all Ben's videos are all BS. Why do you spend all your time trying to debunk him? I think I know who David is, actually. Yeah. Steve says underneath, they are absolute rubbish, but fun. Some are hilarious, and I always debunk him. That's just too easy when using the truth. You know, it's funny you should say that, Steve, because that's my exact same position on your channel. Charles says underneath. Charles says to David, what else is one supposed to do with blathering nonsense about giant bipedal dingoes that are genetically impossible? Well, they're not genetically impossible, though, you see. It's not like that at all. Oh, here we go. Reply to comments 56. It's lesbian eBay reselling again. All right, Richard, take it away. Well, look how the audio issues just so happen to start when my content exposing your grifting comes up. Well, what the hell are you talking about? You saying that I did it deliberately? No. My microphone packed up. That's why I've got a new microphone, lesbian. I got a new microphone. And I'd actually re-recorded it with a different microphone. If you remember, I did like an audio section, didn't I? To repair the damage, to plug the gap. So, what's your point? What are you talking about? Why did I do that if I'm trying to silence you? Anyway, what grifting? In what way am I grifting? Okay. How much money am I making from this? By saying these things that I do on this channel, I make zero money. Zero. I mean, people send me a donation every so often. Of course, I sell my books. But I'm not grifting. You see, grifting is saying something you know is not true because it gets you money. I'm not doing that. She carries on. Very convenient that the audio is fine right before and right after, but your response to my exposing of your MI5 antics is completely distorted by crap audio. Was that your doing? No. Or perhaps your handlers don't like the fact that the truth is finally starting to come out about you and your government-sponsored antics. Perhaps someone at the agency had a word with YouTube to get this audio scrubbed. How about you redress the question I had for you, which I'll repost here. If you don't answer, or the audio magically goes wrong again, then we know exactly what's happening. All right. Well, before I read the question, lesbian, maybe I'll just explain that Nick Pope, I think, is behind all this. It's not that he and I used to hang out in the MI5 bar, sipping the finest Chianti and Courvoisier, which we can afford with our salaries. It's just he has some people in GCHQ who deal with these things, right? And they are monitoring what I'm saying. So, and you see, Nick and I normally we sort of do a double act when it comes to spreading disinformation. However, sometimes he wants to get in there first. I was probably going to say something that he wanted to say on one of his programs. Anyway, what is this anyway? If you needed any more proof that Ben the JR Fed is indeed a Fed, notice how panicked he became when the great Chatters brought up his dubious history at the end of the stream. Very quick to end the stream, weren't you, Officer Ben? Notice how the debt collectors never did call in the unpaid phone bill. I'm guessing your MI5 handler had a word with them, hey, Ben? Oh, they did, yeah. That was all paid off, actually, by the ministry. So, Ben, did the ministry have a word with Vodafone to clear that little debt for you? Yes, they did. The one you were so boldly claiming not to be paying. I want to know the true story about your hospital sacking, although we know it was a promotion from an undercover role. Right. All right, Les, baby. That was when Mossad were trying to poach me. All right. I wanted to stick with MI5, but they decided to try an aggressive recruitment from me because they thought I was too good for MI5 and they wanted me. Okay, I've had similar offers from the CIA, but no, I stick with MI5. So perhaps that answers your question finally, eh, Richard? Charles says underneath, no. Lesbian says to Charles, you are in on it too. You're in on the act too, little dweeb. I think Les knows she's addressing an American there. Yeah. Dweeb. That's a very American word. Weird Weekend North Part 1 of 2. David says, that's just the one word, David. I think I know who that is, actually. I love your determination, Ben, on the Friday night. Personally, I would, after a long journey from Oxford, have a nice evening meal and a few drinks back at the hotel before going to bed for the conference on Saturday. But no, there you are, walking on the motorway to see your pals. Fair play to you, Ben. Thanks, David. Oh, and I think if you are who I think you are, it's good to hear from you again. It really is, and I do hope we meet again sometime, because we have met many times. Same video, Bernie Tucker. Hey, Bernie. Bernie put a comment on the live stream notice last night, just before I deleted it. But he did appear in the live stream, so I didn't need to answer that particular comment. Bernie Tucker says on the same video, Ben, I was watching The Great Escape 2 when two horses ran up the hill, and you could hear them clearly on the grass. I think it must be hollow, as they were a long way away. Oh, right. Right, yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to watch that video again. But it was basically between lockdowns. Colin and I just buggered off to Miles's place, and we ended up doing a tour of the local area. We went to Salisbury Plain. It was great fun. Bernie. Weird Weekend North Part 2 of 2. David says, the walk back to your hotel on Saturday night may have been alcohol induced, but in my opinion, that doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, it was on Sunday. I remember. I think it was. I only walked back once. I think Kilted Ben gave me a lift back on Sunday night and on Friday night, I believe. David says here on Part 2 of 2, regarding missing persons, the 3 people to look into is Derek Goff, Tony Dodd, and Richard D. Hall. Good luck. Stay safe. Thanks, David. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I'm familiar with that. This is actually a saga which is covered in one of Richard's videos. It was the UFOs and NATO video. Because I've actually got the book. It's quite a rare book, actually, but I've actually got the book on it. I wanted to take the time to show you the book, actually, because it's a very rare one. It's a rare book. You can get it. This is a second-hand copy I managed to get hold of. Alien Investigator: The Case Files of Britain's Leading UFO Detective by Tony Dodd. It's chapter 2 actually in this. It actually has been PDF'd. You don't actually have to buy the book. There's PDF copies floating around. But it refers to a friend of Tony Dodd's, and chapter 2. Sorry, not chapter 2. Chapter 2 is the South African thing, the UFO crash in South Africa. But within this book, there's a chapter about a friend of Tony's. Tony died actually a few years ago, sadly. I remember because several people didn't go to Probe because they went to his funeral. But a friend of Tony's claimed to have been part of a special forces unit that picked up the victims of basically the human victims of the mutilation phenomenon. And Richard actually inherited a lot of Tony's old notes, so managed to track this guy down and interview him. Derek Goff is a friend of Tony's in the local area of South Wales, where a lot of these incidents used to happen, actually. The Brecon Beacons is a bit of a hotspot for those places. Yeah. But David says here, good luck and stay safe. Thanks. I mean, I didn't mention this in this particular video. I'm familiar with it though, David. I'm familiar with this particular story because the video itself, it's actually a pretty frightening video, actually. Not least because it's true and it's not just a movie. But David Paulides is similar, but he doesn't really go into the mutilation thing. But people disappear all the time. Like I said, he's walking home alone. It's like, ooh, it's spooky. Anyway, Weird Weekend North Part 1 of 2. The crafty nihilists. Ah, are you enjoying your holiday? Ben, they have invented taxis, apparently. Yeah, the buggers take ages to get there. Like, they take about an hour to get there, and a lot of them are cashless. And Charles says underneath, out again, young lady? Get that muck off your face. It's like a strict dad with his daughter's got makeup on, yeah. Weird Weekend North, part 2 of 2. You know, Ben, I don't know what you think, but there is so much information, quote unquote, online that it's hard to really understand what's going on in this world, if I'm honest. I know what you mean, David. It's like it's not like before the internet. There was like a paucity of information, and getting hold of information was more difficult. You had to go to libraries and things like that, and actually order books. These days, though, in the internet, it's the opposite problem. You have an abundance of information. Getting what you need is like trying to drink out of a fire hose. And, of course, a lot of it is, to quote Steve Mumbling, absolute rubbish. He's right, a lot of it is. And so it does pose a challenge for the likes of me and thee. Weird Weekend Part 1 and 2, The Crafty Nihilist. That Manchester Canal serial killer situation. Well, it was happening in Bath too, but that never got any publicity. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm fed up of mentioning it, to be honest. Manchester is the only one that people look into. Loads of students in the River Avon, tumbleweed. Right, maybe maybe we could talk about this, Crafty, whichever one of you it is, or both of you. Funnily enough, Glenn, the organiser, he actually got in touch with me about this, and he told me that the whole Manchester Pusher thing was just a publicity stunt. It wasn't real. And that statistics have been fudged. I don't know, maybe that's true. To be honest, I hope so, because it's a bloody scary thought, isn't it? Weird Weekend North, part 2 of 2. Rod says, here I am again, part 2 of part 2. Please post again soon. Enjoying every vlog. Oh, thanks, Rod. Thank you very much. There, of course, is a lot more came, and a lot more will be coming. They Live Watch Party review. Charles says, first, my mind powers are in full bloom. Nobody gave me a tip-off. Oh, of course not, no. Anyway, Charles, there you go. And I write underneath, Charles, how did you know? And Charles says, a contact owed me a favour. Right. The They Live Watch Party review, Ravenhill, time immemorial 1968 says, that's another film I recommend, Ben, starring the late Charlton Heston, is The Omega Man from 1971. It really was a classic cult film. Not seen it yet, but will do, OM, I said underneath. Right, Ravenhill, let's see, is that the one that was, the I Am Legend was like a remake, as a man living in a world full of zombies or something? It's, but Charlton Heston, he is a good actor. He's very good at playing these very highly charged emotional roles, you know, he's crying and things like that. He's very good at that. And we have the review again. Hugo Rune. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks, Ben. Oh, you're welcome, Hugo. I hope you enjoyed the live stream as well. Tim Simpson says on They Live Watch Party review, I love that movie. Still watch it today. The critics have no idea what they're talking about. Try the original Repo Man movie. It's a good early 80s movie about 1984 classic film. Oh, right, Repo Man. But there's a lot of people that have requested different films to do watch parties about. I have made a decision on the next watch party movie, and I will be putting the introduction up before I go away on Friday. So keep watching the channel. There'll be another video before Friday. They Live Watch Party review. Charles, oh Ben, the 1963 short story was fiction. 8 o'clock in the morning. They Live. PDF in the public domain. Right, I didn't know the PDF was in the public domain. I know it's fiction, and of course, They Live is fiction, Charles. But it's allegorical. The point I made is I believe that some films, some other pieces of literature and fiction are allegorical in nature. There's absolutely no doubt that some are. I mean, you know, Orwell's 1984 is explicitly allegorical. So many others, you know, Atlas Shrugged and others, they're meant to be about the real world. They're talking about the real world in fiction. And so I know that it's not real, I know, but I think that the author might have been trying to get some information out. But I'll check out the short story. Interesting. I do wonder, because the author is still alive, who wrote the original story, and I wonder what he thinks of. I do wonder what he thinks of the modern world. Hugo Rune says on the review, thank you so much for reminding me. I did see the film a long ago. I remember how I liked it. I remember now I liked it. Must watch it again. Found it on Tinternet. Your report has not spoiled it at all. Again, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Hugo. And your review it's everywhere. I don't think it's actually in the public domain. There probably are copyright issues associated with it, but there's just so many. There are so many uploads everywhere. There's about 6 different ones on YouTube. Some with foreign subtitles. It's on BitChute as well. So yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. They Live Watch Party review. If you haven't already, please do a watch party of V, the 1984 miniseries. Right on your street, right up your street. UFOs, aliens, conspiracy, fake news, lizard people, etc. I did watch an episode or 2 of that. Apparently, I did say that it was inspired by Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End novel. Someone else disputed that. But yeah, maybe I'll do that. But I've already made a decision on the next watch party. It is based on a request by viewers. Kerry Woolley said, here we go, on review. Signal, sing, sine wave. Right, I don't know what that means, except I know that those words are related. At least signal and sine are related. Yeah. PK says on review, I'm currently watching the movie Moonfall, and you are without a doubt some inspiration for the central character in this movie. Congratulations. Oh, really? Moonfall, what's that then? It's not that new shit piece by Roland Emmerich, is it? Let's have a look. Oh, it is Moonfall. Yes, it is. Oh, it is. I'm afraid I haven't watched this because I loathe Roland Emmerich films. I loathe them. I'm afraid maybe now you've said that I probably will watch it maybe in a couple of years when it's, if I can dig it up somewhere. Oh yeah, there's a conspiracy theorist. All right, I see what you mean. John D. Bradley as KC, a conspiracy theorist who finds out the moon is being artificial and discovers incoming moon impact towards Earth following his contact with an official from an observatory in Chile. Right, well, that is the kind of thing that is kind of like me, isn't it? Yeah, it is kind of like me. And I noticed he's sort of like quite a corpulent individual, so, yeah, maybe he's got something in common with me there. They Live Watch Party review. I've just noticed there is actually a timestamp on the bloody OBS recorder, 37 minutes, okay. They Live Watch Party review. Marky Boy says, some work time listening. Sunglasses on, of course. And I'm all out of gum. Yes. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, Marky. You're lucky. We're both lucky to have that kind of job, actually, where we can stick earphones in and just listen to something. In many jobs, you can't do that. Same video, Marky Boy. How about a watch party for the best film ever made? Nude nuns with big guns. If I ever made a movie, it will be just like that one. No, it's not porn. It's an actual film. It just has all I would expect from a movie. Oh, really? Nude nuns with big guns is not porn. With a title like that. Well, I've already decided what the next watch party is going to be, and the one after, but anyway. Review. Charles is here. Charles says, saying that people reject conspiracy theories because deep down they know it's true is proof there's no evidence for those conspiracies. It's not, actually. I don't quite work. No, it's true. It's proof there is no evidence for those conspiracies. I don't quite understand what you're saying there, Charles. People reject conspiracy theories for many reasons. David said, no, Ben's right. He's talking about people who don't want to look at evidence. When you show it to them, they're disturbed at the implications and how their worldview would have to change. Some people prefer to remain in ignorance, and this is the point of the longest single fight scene in film history. Correct, David. Exactly. Marky Boy says under that, like for instance the myth about Admiral Morrison, who started the Vietnam War by announcing a false flag that turned out to be Jim Morrison's father, the Doors singer, being one of the anti-war celebrities for the 60s music scene. But wait, that's true. First of all, Marky, yes, Mark Devlin mentions that, and Neil Sanders. It's very interesting what they have to say about these people. But wait, it's not a myth, it's a fact. Just a coincidence, though. There are no conspiracy theories. Nothing to see here. It is. It is actually a. I don't know if actually it's that what Mark and Neil say about Jim Morrison is actually provably true. It seems to be. Is there any additional evidence apart from the fact that he's the son of this admiral who did the Gulf of Tonkin thing? I don't know. Charles says to David, splendid isolation. Hard to look at the evidence when there isn't any. All right. Well, if you honestly look at it and believe it's not there, that's fine. But some people don't want to look. As I explained in my skeptic video, they go, "I won't look at it. I don't want to know." People, this came up actually when Kaz Clark made that new video she just put up. Charles says underneath. So again, to Marky Boy, how many military personnel have offspring who are stoners and don't start a war? That's pretty good odds, really. Well, to be honest, Charles, that's actually maybe correct. It could be that, obviously Jim Morrison, I know he had lots of arguments with his father because they had such different political views. It could be it just happened to be that way. He happened to be the son of this admiral. And let's be honest, children often specifically rebel against their parents. I mean, I've noticed this with my daughter, actually. She will, when she was a teenager in particular, she would deliberately disagree with me on almost everything for the sake of it. David says to Charles, well, you've made yourself a lost cause, but others do listen. So we tell whomever hears, but also listens. And Charles says to David, you've suddenly started referring to yourself as we. Exactly how many people do you have living inside your head? It doesn't matter who you tell, because the resounding and correct response will always be the ancient proclamation to end all proclamations. Absolute rubbish. Charles actually, I've got when I come onto my backup channel, there's been a new comment on there. David says to Charles, cute spin, nice try, no cigar. Well, Charles is culturally appropriating all these mumblingisms. It's bad, isn't it? Charles says to David, so you do have voices in your head, and we are really excited about it. Yeah. Okay, review. Marky Boy says, as a young fella, that actress Meg made me feel all funny in my special area. Wow. I understand. You can't hardly blame you there. It was her eyes. Film fact, she was born with a pigment missing in them. They looked stunning, but she always hated them, apparently, as she did not want to make a career out of them. Her eyes are unusual colour, actually. They're blue, but they're very light blue. They do look a bit strange, but as I said, I think she's very attractive. And she was a very, very good choice. She's a very, very good choice to play that role. That's an excellent piece of casting. Yeah, so that's true. Yeah. But again, I'm interested in her role in the film. As I said, is she just a Hawleyan agent, or is it more complicated than that? As I say, Weird Weekend North Part 2 of 2. David says, talking of woo nostalgia, Ben, do you remember the unexplained cards that were at the bottom of a PG teabag box? No. What are they? I know about the silent weapons for a quiet war thing was left inside a photocopier, but unexplained cards that were at the bottom of a PG teabag box. I don't know. There used to be cards in teabag boxes. They used to put cards in teabag boxes, didn't they? Yeah. Yeah, I remember these. Yeah. Can't find any references to it, but I'll have a look anyway. And here we go. There's another thread here. David Spinner's Isolation says on They Live Watch Party Review, one of the best films ever made. Yeah, extremely clever. Must have seen it over 20 times in the past 25 years. Alex Jones interviewed Rowdy Roddy Piper a few years back, and he had many interesting things to say about the film and how it pertains to our society. It seems to have had an effect on him, actually. There's even on the DVD of this film that I got, there's a making of docu mini feature, and he's interviewed talking like this. It does seem to have made him think about things when he was in this film. Charles said underneath, it was a short story from 1963. There's nothing original about it. Not about the film as an adaptation, I know, Charles, but there's something original about the story. And it's good. It was interesting, Carpenter chose to adapt it. He must have negotiated rights and adapted it. David says to Charles, we know it's based on a short story. That's not my point at all. Couldn't help yourself though, could you? Charles says to David, yeah, but you didn't though. David says to Charles, it says from a short story on the into the credits, in the intro credits, for fuck's sake. Charles says to David, make up your mind. It either pertains to our society or it's complete fiction. Well, to be honest, Charles, it could be both. As I've explained to you, some things are both. David says, Ben, this is why it becomes pointless chatting to pseudo-skeptics. Once you realise their bloody-minded agenda, it's a waste of further time we can rather spend on other actually reasonable people. Well, David, it's up to you who you talk to. I mean, I quite like Charles. You know, I mean, obviously, like, he has very different views to me, but he's quite cool. He's quite funny and likable. And you know, I don't get angry. I don't even feel frustrated really with the people you call pseudo-skeptics. I really don't. I toy with them, you know. I just have fun with them. Charles says to David, so Ben is inside your head now. That's been greedy. I saw him first. Charles gets inside my head with his mind powers. David says, my point proven. Charles says to David, to yourself and nobody else. And David Smith says here to Charles, well, now I'm confused. I thought it was a shot at consumerism, a bit like Dawn of the Dead, but with aliens. Well, David, if you watch the video and indeed better still, watch the live stream, this point does come up. Indeed, it is. However, it could be interpreted in other ways. Weird Weekend North, part 2 of 2. Every time, hi Snarlock, every time you mention lard, I kept thinking about the song Don't Give All the Lard Away by the Dixieland Jug Blowers, 1926. Dixieland Jug Blowers, what a name. Snarlock says on part 2 of 2, Weird Weekend North, I can recommend a fantastic British movie called Dog Soldiers, 2002. The letter flap scene is hilarious. I've seen that, I think, yeah. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of comedy about werewolves and things like that. It's about some a military unit on exercise in Scotland, and they come across these like dogmen. It is quite good. It's quite a kind of madcap kind of thing, if I remember it. It was a long time ago I saw it, but I did think it was quite good. Where do we get North, part 2 of 2. Interesting that you mentioned Alan Hawkshaw. He was briefly a member of the Shadows in 1969 and toured Japan with them. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, he's... Funny enough, you know, the guy I saw playing in Manchester, he's playing guitar in Manchester, he sounded a bit like the Shadows. But I didn't know that about him, no. They Live Watch Party review, Diego Rivera. Boris Johnson seems possessed by a demonic spirit. Unfortunately, yes, he certainly changed his tune a lot, hasn't he? Steve Mumbling says on They Live Watch Party review, it's actually the other way round. Deep down, people like you know the official 9/11 story is true. You deliberately won't see the truth because it puts yet another nail in the conspirasphere. No, I don't believe the official story of 9/11 is true, and I explain why. Now, if you think otherwise, explain to me why it is true. In fact, we've discussed this many times, Steve. Now, I don't believe it deep down it's true. If you think I do, if you think, like I say, if you're doing a deep psychological analysis on me, again, explain why you think that. Musketeer says on the Apollo Detectives 10 debunking the debunkers. I think I know who you are. Yeah, those are pressure suits. Those are pressure suits in the the SpaceX Dragon crew are wearing. They offer no more protection against radiation than a wedding suit and crash helmet. Raza would have us believe the crew wear those suits for the duration of their flights. That's not true. The suits are worn during launch, re-entry, docking and undocking in case of a loss of the spacecraft's pressure. So no, Raza, there's no discrepancy between the Apollo crew taking off their suits during the flight and the Dragon crew not, because they do. Okay. Well, Raza would have to respond to that because I don't have enough information to disagree with what Musketeer said. Weird Weekend North, part 1 of 2. Dark Corners. Hey Ben, I've been going down a Charlie Veitch rabbit hole since you talked about him on this video. You know, I do still watch him. I do. I've been watching him. Sorry, but it's just I do, and it's so I've watched him so much. I've got to know some of the places in central Manchester as a result. The guy I saw playing the guitar, he appears in some of Charlie's videos actually. The blind guy, the busker. They Live Watch Party live stream. Rick Horden says, I thought I'd pip Charles to the post. No offence, Charles. Oh, well, okay. There you go. Although, Rick, did you actually appear in the live stream? Because if you put a comment in the live chat, that counts as first. Oh, Charles says, I was away on business. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's away on business. Of course, Charles has got a lot of business to do, man, with people. Sorry, he's got businesses to see and people to do. Charles, yeah, I just had a bit of business to sort out, love. I'll be back later, he says to his missus, and he continues, yes, that's my excuse and I'm stuck with it. They Live Watch Party live stream. Ravenhill, Time Immemorial 1968 says, good evening, Ben. Yes, I definitely think you'll enjoy Omega Man from 1971. Hope you get to watch it soon. The soundtrack to the film is great as well, as if you can manage to get hold of it on DVD. Or it's a CD here. I have it now. Let's have a look. Omega Man. Omega Man. The Omega Man is a 1971 American post-apocalyptic film. Directed by Boris Sagal, starring Charlton Heston. The survivor of a pandemic. Oh, right, it was written by John William Corrington and Joyce Corrington, based on the 1954 novel I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Oh, right. And of course, I Am Legend is a film. Richard Matheson is a great writer, actually. Really good writer. I've not actually read any of his stuff, but his adaptations, for example, he wrote a couple of Twilight Zone episodes, and also he wrote the novel on which What Dreams May Come is based on, which is very good. All right, and the Omega Man is the second adaptation of Matheson's novel. The first was The Last Man on Earth in 1964, starring Vincent Price. A third adaptation, I Am Legend, starring the Slapper, Will Smith, was released in 2007. All right. I see, okay. It talks about... All right, it's a zombie movie. Yeah, right you are. Sounds good. I mean, I've watched I Am Legend. I thought that was pretty good, Ravenhill. I did. This was before Will Smith became a dickhead. They Live Watch Party live stream. Marky Boy. Monday morning work bugger. But hang on, a new Ben podcast. Great. Rise above. After this, and my morning is sorted. We'll mix in some Mark Devlin later. Nice one, Marky. Enjoy, buddy. Enjoy. Same videos, David Splendid Isolation. The implications of switching off the signal all at once is why they have their deemed reasons for slow disclosure. Yes, correct. Charles says, they? Who is they? Clueless twunt on the internet says, that's a good name. They know, they, the ones who own the Maltesers patent. The ones who own the Maltesers patent. What, Roundtree? I don't know what that means. Hang on. Maltesers. Maltesers are a spheroid malted. Oh, well, there we go. Are the British? They're owned, manufactured by Mars Incorporated. First sold in 1937. They are a spheroid of malted milk centre surrounding by milk chocolate. Right. So you're talking about Mars. That's the Mars, the company that makes Mars bars. Okay. So are they? So is Mars Incorporated? Are they like the Illuminati? It's an American multinational manufacturer of confectionery. All right, I see. So this is the Illuminati, is it? All right. Mars drinks, Mars food, Mars pet care. All right, okay. Well, you learn something every day now. So they are aliens, are they? Okay, clueless twunt. David Smith says the clueless twunt on the internet. They've even infiltrated celebrations. Clueless says, damn those Illuminati, but nicest. if any, possibly some people younger than me might not get that. There was an ad. The tagline was naughty but nice. I can't remember which. It was some kind of chocolate. Oh, was it Maltesers? I can't remember. But Anyway, I didn't know that about Maltesers. I will, but as far as by the way, you may be wondering, I haven't had a chocolate egg yet. It's actually Easter Sunday today, but I'll be picking one up tomorrow when they're really, really cheap. Right, here we go. Live stream. Marky Boy says, to be honest, the whole cipher thing is that most of us were perfectly happy living in this false reality. I know I was happy earning a living and spending time with my loved ones. But they could not just leave us alone paying our taxes and leading our profane and little lives, could they? It's an egotistical mindset of the predator class. They are not elite in any way at all. Well, Marky, if I can just interrupt you, you may come on to this later, but it's this idea of the noble myth. It's like that in the Burning Darkness play, the one it's by a Spanish author. It's actually not been translated into English. I only managed to read it because Sue Stain speaks Spanish and did her own translation. It's about the people who live in a community for the blind, and they don't realise that they're blind. They don't realise that there's such a thing as sight. The question is it kind of just to leave them like that, or is it actually to reveal to them the truth? Is that good or bad? And this is the Cypher dilemma. Cypher has decided he's decided to trade in that principle because his real life is so miserable. He wants to live a fake life. Anyway, Marky continues. People think it's about money and power, but it's obvious it's so much more than that. They will not be content until they have stolen our souls. It's evil versus good, or light versus light, dark versus light. But whatever, it's the right. It's right here now for everyone to see. A bit of bleak comment, but this I cannot sugarcoat it. Live life, enjoy every day. Do not walk in fear. That's all we can do. True, Marky. Although I mean, I didn't quite understand your point, but I don't believe you were happy living in the false reality. But as Morpheus said to Neo, you know, you can't go back. But would you go back if you could? And Neo doesn't really answer. But Cypher then says, "Oh, when Cypher reveals his true self, the others say, no, but you don't want to go back into the Matrix. The Matrix is not real." And he says, I disagree. The Matrix is as real as anything we do on here. So do you just define reality as perception or reality as truth? I mean, it's too big for me to go into detail now, but it's both an ethical and a philosophical concept, isn't it? The They Live Watch Party live stream. Jason Cavea says, he delivers some sad news here. I've just heard some sad news. Robin P. Foy, the founder of the Skull Experiment Group, just passed away. And I actually put a comment here and said, I'm very sorry to hear that. I love their book and documentary. I wonder if it is, because I did try to search for some information on this and to see if there's any more news about it. And it talks about areas. He's written books In Pursuit of Mediumship, and of course the Skull Experiment. Okay. There's nothing, just put here Skull Experiment. The Skull Experiment. It's just a book which is very, very good. Weird Norfolk, the Skull Experiment. Alright, yeah. Skull. Skull is a little village on the Norfolk-Suffolk border. Right. It actually, does it mention? Oh yeah, it does. On the Wikipedia page, it actually says here, it was the Skull Experiment was a series of mediumistic seances which took place in the village. And it just says the verity. It just talks about mediumship here. Right, you are. Yeah, I mean, because I actually I joined a Facebook group which said they were going to start the experiment up again. The Spirit team have been in touch and say they want to do more work, because this all took place in the 90s. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but it's fascinating. There's also a book, but there's also a documentary which is very good. How am I doing for time? I think the alarm's going to go off in a minute. Clueless Twant on the internet says on They Live Watch Party live stream, paradigm smashing. Right, yeah. I mean, I think that's a compliment. Yeah, it is. A Musketeer now says on Daily Watch Party live stream. So, on top of your claim that Americans can't speak or write properly, now all Frenchmen are gay. How can you claim you won't cause trouble at conferences when on numerous occasions you've said if this or that person turns up, you will confront them and ask them if they'd like to step outside to say whatever to your face? Is that not causing trouble, brawling in the car park and the police showing up, going to get the organisers invited back to the venue? Don't try and hide behind all this manly discussion fluff. Even this stupid American isn't falling for that. So, mouth where your money is time. If this or that person does take you up on the offer, what are you going to... Then what? Are you going to walk away? Edit. Sorry for my mistakes. I'm just a stupid American. And Musketeer says in reply, sorry to whoever replied, I can't see what you wrote. Okay, so another hidden comment. Alright, Musketeer. Firstly, you're not American, you're British. I know who you are. We've met many times. The thing about claiming that all Americans can't speak or write properly and all Frenchmen are gay, do you not realise that I'm making a joke? I'm making a joke in the same way that Charles from Project Camelot calls me Falstaffian, because Falstaff is a Shakespearean character, a sort of large, chubby, very jovial person. Sir John Falstaff. I don't get offended by that, because it's just a joke. Oh, ding, ding, ding. Listen to that. Oh, that's quite... My new phone's actually not bad. I'm sort of got used to it now. Okay, guys, so I'll take another break, and I'll be back for hour number 3 coming up. So there we go. Okay, guys, I'm back. Hour number 3. So I'll just make sure I've got the right thing on my clipboard. We'll continue. I was halfway through answering Musketeer, wasn't I? Yeah, no, right. Okay. I'll put another timestamp here so the Musketeer knows it's a kind of a difference. No. Yeah, causing trouble. Right. Firstly, you're doing what you always do, Julian. You're trying to find fault with me. So when I make a joke, you make out, oh God, isn't it awful? And then you say, oh, you claim you won't cause trouble at conferences. Well, what I actually said was that if someone is rude to me online, I didn't mention any particular conference. I just said if someone's rude to me online, I'll go to one of their events, whatever it might be. It could be a social event or something like that. And, they can say this to my face. And you mentioned brawling. Is that not causing trouble? It says brawling in the car park. Who mentioned anything about brawling? I didn't say anything about brawling, did I? Did I say anything about brawling, ladies and gentlemen? I didn't mention brawling or violence at all. What I said was that step outside and say what you said to my face will resolve the matter like two gentlemen. That's what I said. I never mentioned about brawling or anything like that. And and also, you see, a car park is not the venue, is it? The car park is a public place outside the venue. What happens on a in public areas is not something the organisers are accountable for. So there you go. And you see, the reason you're bringing this up and the reason you're so fussed about this, Julian, is because you yourself, I made this challenge to you and your cronies in Team Droik. I actually said, as you know, a couple of years ago, let's meet up and confront each other. And you said, sure, anytime, mate, anytime, I'll meet you anytime. Was it fill you out, is the phrase you used? You wanted to fill me out. Okay, well, here was your opportunity to fill me out. We set up the meeting, we arranged it. I went to the event, it went there in Watford, and you never showed up. That's why you got such a bee in your bonnet about this, isn't it, Julian? So, right, as soon as I confirm, your reply is going to depend on whether or not you get blocked, actually. Because if you are Julian, it's remotely possible I've made a mistake and you're not Julian. But I'll know the way you reply to what I've just said. In which case, then you get blocked because you know who you are. You had your opportunity, you and your mates. I don't know which one of you it was actually who I was talking to at that time. I know there's about 6 or 7 of you, because I know you post from that number of IP addresses, and I know your spelling and grammar is sometimes better than others. Okay, Oliver Allen, I think this is a Spanish person, and is a spammer, so I'm going to remove that comment. Rick Horden says on Daily Watch Party live stream, I wonder if Carpenter made the fight scene so drawn out as an effort to put an end to fight scenes in general, fight fatigue. I don't know. I mean, of course, that you could say that was the fight scene to end all fight scenes, couldn't you? Glowtone says, Ben, book your show. Was it the Golden book? Sorry, the book you show, The Golden Bough by Sir James Fraser. That's I know the one you mean, the one that this guy brought, was actually used by the playwright Anthony Shaffer and the film director Robin Hardy when researching for the film The Wicker Man. They used various sections from the book into the screenplay. Also, Anthony Shaffer later wrote a sequel to The Wicker Man called The Loathsome Lambton Worm, a folklore legend you also mentioned. Oh, right. Thanks for the information, Glowtone. The Lambton Worm, I actually read a book called The Lambton Worm once. Despite its name, I mean, it's actually a snake. The word worm used to mean actually not just a worm like an earthworm. It used to mean like anything, any sort of slithering creature, such as a snake, or an eel or something. A psychedelic lecture in Oxford, and Williamism just has a series of emojis. But thank you, Williamism. This is my new video now. Rick Cleland says, "Hi Ben." Hi Rick, how you doing? Thanks for posting. And we have a thread now. Williamism says on the same video, DMT is released when you're born and when you die. Pineal glands get calcified. DMT experiences can be done without DMT through sound frequencies, etc. That's right, yeah. Rick Strassman said there was endogenous DMT, which gave people spontaneous DMT highs, which was produced from inside the body. Graham Hancock talks about this too. The calcification of the pineal gland is, again, I think there is something to do. The fact that fluoride is everywhere in our society may be for that purpose, because it does cause. I think they even call it pineal fluoridation or something, fluoridization or something. And he carries on. DMT experiences can be done without DMT. Yeah, in fact, there's various. Indeed, even Timmerman himself mentioned holotropic breath work, which is something invented by Stanislav Grof. And there's meditation, there's trance dancing. Sometimes these things can happen spontaneously. Michael Shermer, for example, he had what I would call like a transcendental. He describes it as a mystical experience. It sounds like it could have been an endogenous DMT experience during this cycle race he was on, which led him to become a skeptic. Which, who knows if he's still a skeptic now? He may not be for much longer. Charles says in reply to that, unusually 1960s Genesis. Usually 1960s Genesis. Yeah, well, during the 60s, it was a big era for tripping out, wasn't it? Yeah. Williamism says to Charles, the spinning pillars. Charles says, Planet Gong. Marky Boy, please tell me more. Very interesting to hear. All right. I don't know exactly what those guys were talking about. Marley Pumpkin says on the same video, as usual, you do another video that makes sure you don't get kicked off YouTube. Not exactly fighting the New World Order, are you? If you get kicked off this platform, you'd miss all your so-called friends, wouldn't you, Mr. MI5 agent? Will you and Lesbian get a room? I think he is fighting the New World Order. These things are all connected, as I said. Some people might. I know there's some people who are into the conspiracies and other things, and they say things like, "Well, you can't don't waste your time on this stuff. You know, it just doesn't really mean anything at the moment. You know, it's just a bit too frivolous for us to deal with. So just do other things instead." However, you know, I think these things are all connected. You know, people say, "Oh, we don't have time for this airy-fairy stuff, all this theory, this pure research, this theory. You know, we're facing down the New World Order, but it's all connected. You see, the New World Order wouldn't be able to do what it did unless it controlled us on a spiritual level." Charles from Project Camelot says on psychedelic lecture in Oxford, blathering nonsense. That's all. Oh, right. Well, that is not. I assume you're speaking for yourself, and you're not just passing on messages from the mumbler. Okay, well, if you explain which bits you thought were blathering nonsense, or if it's all blathering nonsense, why that is, I'd be happy to discuss it with you, Charles. Marky Boy says, Mr. Closed Mind is here. Light one up and chill, fellas. It'll do you good. Well, Marky Boy's obviously been talking to Hugo Rune. I'm sure he'll have lots to say on this video. David Smith says underneath, pretty sure Charles is joking. Dave Charles says, that information is classified. Is classified. David says to Charles, every man has their price. Well, no, I don't know about Charles, though. Charles is too dedicated to the cause, I think, to ever have a price. Same video, E.T. says, in 2002, I was sectioned onto the Mental Health Act and spent 12 months in a psychiatric hospital. Oh, God, that's awful, man. That's awful. That's worse than jail. I mean, it's worse than jail. So at least in prison, you know, you have more. In prisoners actually have more rights than people sectioned in psychiatric care. Also, in jail, if you get sent to jail, you have a reasonable idea of when you're going to get out. You know, you may not know exactly, but you know when you'll be eligible for parole and things like that. If you get sectioned and put in and banged up in the loony bin, you could be there forever. You could be there your whole life. You could be there a week. You never know. It's a bloody nightmare. Since then, I've been put on the many antipsychotic meds and therapy sessions. Nothing worked to improve my condition. I began to self-medicate with psilocybin, that is mushrooms and truffles, and I'm now mentally stable. I have my own home, full custody of my children, and work full-time. Earth's natural medicine. Well, E.T., I'm very pleased for you. I really am. And that's kind of the point that Timmerman was making. You know, he is a doctor, a medical doctor, at the end of the day, not a researcher. And even though he's interested in the research, his prime role is to find ways of as applying these clinically. So I'm very, very pleased for you indeed. But don't tell Big Pharma, because psilocybin is free, of course. It comes from things that grow in the ground. Oh, God, no. And Charles says, that's a happy ending. Marky Boy says, me, nice one. Everything natural is kept from us, I firmly believe. Yeah. Psychedelic lecture in Oxford. Ravenhill says, off topic, Ben, but do you worry about Britain because of the mass amount of immigration here now? Where I live, it's getting very multicultural. I'm afraid of it. I prefer the old times to now. Yes, I am worried about that. I worry a lot about the, mass immigration. I think mass immigration is something being done deliberately to re-engineer society, and I think it's a very bad thing. I think it's an awful thing. So this doesn't mean we should get angry with the immigrants. We shouldn't. I mean, I live with 2 Sudanese immigrants, and they're great guys. But really, the reason they're here, they're essentially being used. And Tricky Who says in reply to Ravenhill, the anti-white politicians and their masters have to pay for all the anti-white policies they've implemented, one way or another. It's very disturbing to me, and I'm not even in GB, Great Britain. 'Twas always a dream of mine, though. Yeah, I mean, they do have to pay. Now, when you say anti-white, I think the anti-white thing is a strategy rather than the end goal. I mean, this is quite common on the distant right. People say, well, they just don't like white people. But I don't believe the Illuminati just don't like white people. They seem to be giving white people a hard time at the moment for a reason. It's for a reason. It's not because they don't like white people. I don't think they like any people. I think they regard us all as just another species of farm animal. I mean, there's, you know, they look at us and they see black people, white people, Jewish, Chinese, whatever, and they're just like a farmer who sees a Frisian, Hereford, and other breeds of cattle, of cow, you know. And they want to control us all. They want to kill most of us and replace us with basically genetically engineered monsters. So they're not anti-white politicians. They're anti-everything politicians. And yes, they do need to pay, and one day they will. BZ Carson says, multicultural is good. What you really mean is there are too many brown people here. Well, the thing is, BZ, multiculturalism is not good. It's not. It is, obviously there's different cultures all over the world, different races, different languages, different religions, and it's good that we can travel and meet each other and learn from each other. But what they're doing now is they're pushing, the Illuminati are putting they're trying to take in everyone, and they're moving them around, they're mixing them up, so it's sometimes called globo homo, which has got nothing to do with homosexuality. Globo homo is short for global homogeneity, and that's not good. And the thing is, there are too many brown people in Britain. This is not a slur against brown people. It's just that they've been moved in deliberately for the reasons I've just said. Stir them up, mix them up, create like a homogenous mass of humanity. There's no countries, there's no societies. There's just, one particular sort of lump of people, and they all worship the Big Brother state. So it's not good. Right, Gary Robinson says here. Evening, Ben, mate. I'm looking forward to watching this. Missed it in my feed for some reason, but it showed up at the top of my YouTube homepage. Cheers. Oh, thanks. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Gary. I keep looking away because there appears to be some technical problems with the recordings I've made. It's to do because they're enormous files. For some reason, my new webcam produces files like 7-8 gigabytes each. It's really enormous. Psychedelic lecturer in Oxford, Ravenhill says, I bet Tolkien, if he were... Sorry, Gary, I just want to say, you missed it in your feed. Sorry, I was distracted. But I'm glad it showed up anyway. I'm glad it did show up. But I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Ravenhill said, I bet Tolkien, if he were alive now, wouldn't recognise Oxford now. He would recognise it, but of course it has changed enormously since... It has changed enormously since his time, socially and in terms of the people. I mean, Oxford's always been a very cosmopolitan place because of the university. But yeah, he would probably, the town side of it has become very, very different. Yeah. Araminta Mooncrow. Hello, Araminta. Here we go. A few years ago, my mum, who had never used any kind of psychoactive drug, went to a party where some irresponsible idiot persuaded her to eat a small cake. To this day, we do not know for definite what it contained, but she was told it was cannabis. Within a short time, she started having terrifying hallucinations. The room was spinning. She started to shake, and she couldn't stand up. I got a call at midnight to come and collect her. I had to carry her up the stairs to bed. She was in a horrendous state and very distressed. From that evening on, she never recovered. She continued to have vertigo. She couldn't walk without a stick. She couldn't look at any kind of patterned carpets or wallpaper, as this would completely freak her out. It was as if whatever she took that night had flicked a switch in her brain that we couldn't switch back off. She got depressed from not being able to go out. She went from being a very independent and creative person to a depressed, terrified mess. After 2 years of continuous vertigo and depression, she was given SSRI antidepressants and within a month started to tremor. She was eventually diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, then eventually, after 5 years of late-night admissions to an A&E, and me repeating the same account over and over again to doctors who clearly did not believe me. Lewy body dementia. I appreciate that some people will say that whatever she took that fateful night had nothing to do with her eventual diagnosis, or that whatever she took merely unmasked the Lewy body disease that she was destined to go on to develop. However, the way she went from being a perfectly healthy individual to a terribly damaged and constantly suffering shell of a person who never recovered instantly from the second she took whatever was in that cake should be a warning to anyone who wants to play Russian roulette with their brain chemistry. The human brain is the most complex instrument in the known universe. Maybe these psychoactive substances, both natural and synthetic, are created to take out the idiots amongst our species, leaving them to marinate in a puddle of their own self-indulgent illusion. The wise man will take the path of truth and utilize medication and self-reliance. That's a very sad story, Araminta. I'm very sorry that happened. I really am. It may well have been what she was given. You see, as Timmerman actually makes this point, there are risks associated with these medications. They're not something that should be used frivolously. Strassman and Hancock say the same thing. If you're at a party, I think I make this point in the video, if you're at a party and there's lots of strangers around you and there's bright lights and loud noise and you've already had like a few glasses of alcohol, that's not the set or setting to use these substances. However, I don't believe that they are all bad. I don't believe that they are universally bad. There was actually a conspiracy account, this is what Neil Sanders, I think, mentioned, that the psychoactive substances are exactly what you say they are. They are a tool of control by the Illuminati. But having read Strassman, listened to people like Timmerman, I don't think that is always the case. But it's something that, yeah, definitely. Whoever gave her that cake should never have. Don't give people a cake with something in it they don't know about. You have to tell them what it is. You have to say, look, there's something in here that contains a substance. You need to know about that and know there's a risk in taking it, and perhaps you shouldn't take it. Funny enough, Jonathan Downes, the great author, a very very good writer. Think he's very good. Who writes on cryptozoology, the issues, subjects of cryptozoology. He said the same thing. He said exactly the same thing. He said that he was suffered from terrible mental health problems, and he traces it back to this horrific experience he had. He was on the beach and he had a very bad psychedelic trip with some people when he was young, and he describes that they were attacked essentially by a succubus, and his mental health problems that came from that moment. Indeed, it can give a bad trip can literally traumatize you for life. Yeah. Marky Boy says, Tosh, cannabis does not cause hallucinations. It must have been something else. I hear these BS tales, but the sweet leaf is not acid. It will absolutely not cause anything but nice, relaxing vibe. Well, I mean, I've taken cannabis twice. In one case, it did create a nice, relaxing vibe. On the other hand, I think I was actually, again, I took it, I think there was something mixed in. But yeah, definitely, your mother did not take just cannabis. Definitely not. Hugo Room said, whatever mum your drug had taken, I'm sure it was not cannabis. I used both homegrown and prescribed Sativex. Never once experienced what you claim. I agree, Hugo. Musketeer says here, Tosh, to Marky Boy, I've been a regular smoker of the herbs for 30 plus years. Now, most people are in where you live, Julian. And have on many occasions experienced hallucinations characterized by sensory experiences, including seeing, hearing, or feeling things that don't exist in reality. Well, Musketeer, or should I call you Julian, sometimes, at the pub we went to when we went to the David Icke meetup in 2007, you actually got you had quite an experience with just alcohol, if I remember. You actually slept in your sleeping bag upside down. In the morning when we woke up, we saw you in there with your feet sticking out. Not just myself either. Most tokers, if not all I know or have known, and that's a lot, have those experiences from time to time. To deny weed can cause hallucinations is to deny medical facts. What it sounds like in Mooncrow's mother's case is a drug, whatever it was, has triggered some pre-existing condition, because as time passes, the effects of any drug subside. So it's possible, but I wouldn't just deny that, having a bad trip can itself be a cause of some really, really nasty situations. Musketeer says to Hugo, why are you sure? Read what I post to Marky. You're going to get wasted on nabiximols, and weed varies in strength. Hugo Rune said, you say read what I posted to Marky. I read Marky's post, but I do not see a reply from you. Sorry. Musketeer said, somebody made me a reply to me on Ben's last video, and I can't see that. And so that's happening again, isn't it? Yeah. Musketeer says, this is my reply to Marky. I've been a regular... Okay, he just repeats what he said before. So we're obviously getting technical problems again with the comments. I'm very sorry about that. I really am. Rod says on psychedelic lecture in Oxford, hi Ben, the film set was for you, I think. They want you to appear with an aging Tom Cruise in the new Mission Impossible film called Cannot Believe It's Not Lard. For Rod, Tom Cruise doesn't age, he's a vampire basically. But yeah, that's going to be quite good fun. I can imagine myself swinging by a rope across from a cliff, trying to catch bits of lard and things like that. Psychedelic lecture in Oxford, Marky Boy says, another video, something I'm very interested in by the looks of it. I want to try ayahuasca, but properly guided by a shaman. This is something I hope to do one day. I must admit that proper mellow leaf woke me up. I'm very much a fan of the late Howard Marks. My mind was opened by plants. Big Pharma does not want us using anything natural. They want us on synthetic rubbish, which I think is yet more control. There is everything we need in this realm to cleanse, heal and sustain us. This could be a paradise, and we are not overpopulated. There could be enough land, water and food for all of us, but the predator class make it hell. So many lies told to us, all for control. Yeah, a lot of people do have very, very positive experiences from using these substances in the right way. I've never heard of Howard Marks, but I know Terence McKenna I thought was very good. But you're right about Big Pharma. They want us to use their products so they make money and then can control us. As you say, synthetic rubbish from which there's more control. You're right about overpopulation. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. The Earth could, the Earth could be a wonderful place. It really, really could. As Charlie Chaplin said, life could be a wonderful experience for all of us. Hope for youth and a comfort for old age. And I hope that comes true at some point. I really do. The predator class, as you call them, I've dedicated my life to stopping what they want to do, creating a better world. Thanks for the comment, Marky. That was good. They Live Watch Party live stream. Shiri Hist says, there are very odd things going on in close encounters of the third kind. That's the They Live Watch Party live stream. It's a film I don't have time to go into now. Maybe it's an idea for a watch party. We've probably got enough watch party ideas to go through the whole year. But it's a great movie. It's a wonderful, feel-good, very idealistic film by Steven Spielberg. And he says he couldn't make that nowadays because he's changed so much. It's a happy, optimistic, positive film. Paola Harris said it changed her life. I do love it, yeah. Right, Marky Boy says on Psychedelic Lecture, this subject is very good, Ben. Your thoughts were very interesting. Maybe a deeper dive into this area. When I look at... maybe you're right, Marky. Maybe I'll cover this in more times. I've read a lot about it, so maybe I should speak more about it. When I look at people like Jacques Vallée and his theory that UFOs are linked to consciousness, I can go along with that. Our minds are more powerful than we realise. The whole COVID thing happened as people began to awake. Yeah, coincidence? I think not. Neither do I, Marky. It's certainly not a coincidence. Maybe everything is cyclic. With what appears to be growing evidence of past civilizations coming out more and more, I think it's all connected, and I'm joining the dots, as many of us are now. That's right, Marky, yes. But Jacques Vallée was very interesting. Passport to Magonia was his book. He's just written a new book with Paola Harris. But it's interesting looking at history and about how things like Atlantis were like pre-Illuminati civilizations, and then they fell. It's an interesting idea. I have covered a little bit, but... The Lights Below says they're filming the new Wonka film in Merton Street. Oh, right, Wonka. Is that like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Let's have a look. Let's just see if I can check that out. Wonka film. Wonka filming Oxford. I was here. Pictures show Timothy Chalamet filming in Oxford. Oh, right. Oxford Mail, yeah, here we go. I didn't see Timothy there, Timothy. Pictures show Timothy Chalamet filming in Oxford. A collection of pictures which show the Oxford Mail actor Timothy Chalamet filming Wonka in Oxford. Yeah, it's a prequel to Roald Dahl's novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, right. It's been spotted in Oxford several times, shooting scenes at the Radcliffe Camera and other places in the university. Oh, and there is Merton Street. Oh, yeah. You've got all these old cars there. Oh, right, that explains it. That's interesting. Well, if I see Timothy, I'll see if I can get his autograph, and I'll tell him, I'll say, Timothy, for goodness sake, no more Dune. But it was interesting to see that. Yeah, I think they were putting the lights may have been to because they were filming inside and they wanted to create like a sunlight type of experience. Charles says here, I don't think it's happening. The idea of a new Wonka film is a world of pure imagination. Ba-boom, Tisha. Oh yeah, I've actually seen both Charlie and the Chocolate Factory films, and I think they're both very different, but they're both really good. The new one is actually it's closer to the book. The lights were low. Charles says to Charles, they may be just fudging the whole thing. The lights were low. Charles says to lights were low, they used bribery to sweeten the deal, but tish. Oompa loompa doompa dee doo, la 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 la. Okay, the Hollingwell incident. Oh, this is an old one, the Hollingwell incident. I want to interview this guy about it, but he's very hard to get hold of. But I want to do a program on HPANWO Radio about Hollingwell. Oh, this is the one where people, well, it's where everyone just, there's a load of people in a field and they collapse at the same time. The Hollingwell incident is famous in paranormal circles. Woody Judd said there, I was there that day with my mum and dad. I remember it was very hot. The rumours on the day that there was some dodgy sweets were passed around, which made a lot of the kids feel sick. Well, thank you very much for the information, Woody. I'm giving you a love heart. In fact, could you email me? It's bennyj74@gmx.co.uk. I'll just like put my for. I'd love to know more, so please could you email me at that email? Thanks very much. Weird Weekend North, part 1 of 2. David Smith. I enjoyed these videos. Reminds me more of the content you did years ago. Less politics, but more focusing on the unknowns and mysteries. Oh, thanks. You know, David, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I did do. I suppose I have changed slightly over the years. I've always covered politics in a way, but you know, I'm interested in all, both paranormal, UFOs, conspiracy theory, parapolitics, etc. all the time. So yeah, but I'm glad you like. I will be looking into covering them all. I am a sort of broad church person, so you can expect more of these kinds of videos. Rod says on movies, a hospital porter reacts. Independence Day and The Exorcist and the very first of the Alien films. All right, that's well, Independence Day, I consider, as you know, was one of my worst films I've ever seen. The Exorcist is pretty good horror, actually. The first Alien film, again, great horror movie, good sci-fi horror. The sequels, well, the Cameron one, the James Cameron one was quite good. Resurrections. The other sequels are all bollocks. Battle of Los Angeles 80th anniversary live stream. Rod says, "Hi Ben, as a young at heart OAP, when I'm suffering with insomnia, I peruse for your videos, pick one, stick in my earbuds and settle back to easy listen with you. I always enjoy your videos, and long before the end of each video, I'm zonked out like a light." Oh, Rod, I'm really pleased. I'm a kind of a lullaby kind of video maker, aren't I? This is not because your videos are in any way boring, quite the contrary, as I always come back to listen to anything I might have missed. You have a great encyclopedic knowledge of your subject and are always interesting. I'm a bit of an anorak, Rod, yeah, I admit that, yeah. Keep up the great work. Oh, thank you, I will. Always looking out for anything new you do, which is always a highlight of my day when you go online. Again, I'm surprised you don't have millions of subscribers. Kind regards, Rod from Winchester. That's a lovely comment, Rod, and thank you very much. I'm glad I do help you with sleeping. A lot of my videos are you have the option of just listening. It's me talking like this one. But I'm really pleased that, Rod, I really am. And there's plenty more to come. I appreciate your support. Same video, Rod, again. Somewhere in my distant past, I remember a theory using the Lorentz transformation theory that if you could travel in space at 90% of the speed of light for every year in space, 100 years would pass on Earth. But I cannot understand how this could be so, as the time is constant irrespective of speed. Well, according to Albert Einstein, time is not constant, you see. The only thing that's constant is the speed of light. So as you get closer to the speed of light, literally, time will run at a different rate to you relative to someone in another place. This means, like, if you could get up to 90% of the speed of light, you'd solve the problems. You could build a spacecraft. It would solve all the problems of having to, spend hundreds of years in space in suspended animation, because you could get to a distant galaxy like in a couple of days. The problem is, when you came back, millions of years could have passed. I mean, even if you go like 20% at the speed of light, you go off into space to a different car, you come back again, and your children will be older than you. You'll be contemporaries of your own grandchildren, that kind of thing. But I know some people are now saying that Einstein was wrong. Now, Sabina Hossenfelder actually says that. She has a video called "Is Einstein Wrong?" I haven't actually seen it yet, but it looks interesting. Let's just see if I put these on here. There could be a little delay actually in getting this film online because I'm suffering. There's been this new webcam is causing some technical problems. Musketeer says on Psychedelic Lecture in Oxford, Ben, you should get a psilocybin mushroom grow kit. They're only a few bucks and they're available in the UK online on the counter. I checked for you. Grow the shrooms and do some My Trip live streams. I think your views would go through the roof. You're not going to get into trouble over shrooms on all the videos. Lots of people do them. Just don't consume them on the video. Start the live stream after. The kits are super easy to use, and in a few weeks you'll have great fresh mushrooms. You should get between 2 and 4 harvests of each kit, and each harvest giving enough mushrooms for multiple trips. You can preserve them, drying for example, and save them for later. Sometimes I eat them raw, but find the best results from boiling down a few into a shot-sized liquid using a saucepan and a small amount of water. All the growing information is in the kit and on YouTube. There are these using tips. Taking a trip is the only way you can understand the subject. Have fun. Well, Musketeer, it's unusual for you to be so nice and helpful. But thank you very much. However, you know, this is not something I ever plan to do at home. I certainly will not live stream myself doing this. You're right that using the substance is the only way you can really research it, as Graham Hancock says. However, if I do so, it'll be in a controlled environment at a retreat. I'm thinking actually of going to one in Ireland if I can. I keep getting adverts from someone for an event, something like this in Ireland, which I'll tell you more about the time. But I will make sure it's a good setting. I'll make sure I have someone with me who's trained in supervising this kind of things. There's no way I'm going to start messing with things like that at home. Because as Araminta Mooncrow said, you are playing with fire. I know you get good results. That's great. Maybe you're experienced in the use of these medications. You know what to expect from the actual state of consciousness. I'm not. The Afterlife, a second reply to Stephen Molyneux. And Rod said, I started off as an extra large and went all the way down to small and ended up as a medium. By the law of averages, I was showing the boundaries of my being. 1,500 pages. This is my one I did live stream. 1,500 UFO pages live stream. Hugo Roon says, I watched this live. Yeah, I know you were whilst watching this live. Yeah, I saw you in the live chat, Hugo. Thanks for commenting. Every time I commented, the video would go into pauses and pause video, very erratic. I thought it was my PC doing it, but I watched this from the beginning. I could see lots of pauses. So it is your end problem, not mine, thankfully. Right. I'm clearly having some issues with this new webcam, which is a shame because it's quite nice in many ways. I don't know why that is. Right, same video, Hugo Roon. For some odd reason, I wanted to find Lord of the Flies on YouTube. I found it. This was a book from my childhood. I was an eager reader and loved the book. I don't know if this is good, but here's a link. Okay, so this is the Lord of the Flies. All right. I never saw the movie. I did read the book. It's sort of like a school book. Everyone reads things people read at school. It's ads. Sorry, there's ads on there, Hugo. It's an interesting idea. I think William Golding was trying to make a comment about. Again, it was an allegory of the nature of childhood. He may have been bullied in school or something. And saying basically kids are all bastards, and if you leave them to their own devices without adult supervision, they turn into barbarians. That was his point. That's the point of the story. Same video. Charles says, "Oggy, oggy, oggy, oi, 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 oggy, 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 oi, 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 oggy, oi, oggy, oi, oggy, 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 oi, oi, oi." I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah. Same video. Caroline McGreal. Yay, Ben. I too noticed a huge central attacks this week here, and chemtrail attacks in southeast London. Yeah, that's odd, isn't it? I believe it could be because it's a very holy week, Easter, yeah, and weekend for many people, being the Passover unleavened bread feast week and weekend, when Christ was crucified as our Passover lamb for the forgiveness of sin. Leviticus 23, Matthew 26. This may be why the hidden hands, the Satanists that run this fallen world, are being compelled by their overlords to do it at this time. Caroline, as you know, I don't share your religious beliefs, but you may have a point. There may be something connected to that. And there's some Bible quotes here which you often put in, which I won't read out. But you know, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I actually took a photograph to show Tina because there was just a pure white sky today. It was the sun was shining, but it was pure white. Yeah, Clueless Twant on the internet says on 1500 pages. Yeah, move like a panther, Ben. What's this? Is a link here. Just hope there's no ads on this. All right, it's me. It is a bit jerky, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, guys.
It seems that this webcam seems to be. I'm getting a bit of trouble from the webcam. I'm able to fiddle with the settings. But yeah, did I move like a panther? I think. Yeah, I do look a bit chubby, don't I, on that camera? Saint Micah 7. You're not Micah Hanks, are you? Says on 1500 pages. The Earth has moved into a new phase, and those who control it are manifesting themselves. I think so, you know, Saint Micah. You said it very, very succinctly there, just in a single sentence. But that's actually what's happening. How am I doing for time? I don't believe this is going to go on for bloody into the 4th hour. I'll have to make it a 2-parter again. Steve Mumbling says on 1500 pages, painting the ceiling means painting the ceiling. All right, sorry, Steve. I'm not into Australian slang. It's a bastard as I have a large lounge room, and it still isn't finished. No serious researcher would consider you a serious researcher. You're just a UFO fanboy, and you know it. No, I'm not, Steve. Steve, I am a serious researcher, and many serious researchers consider me serious. Your belief in the Penturk nonsense, the Queen of England being a shape-shifting lizard from outer space, the 9/11 conspiracy, NASA faking the moon landings, and Bigfoot, etc., 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 rules you out completely as a serious researcher. The Sun would have published anything juicy. That's their job. Nothing to see here yet again. Oh, Steve. How wrong you are. How wrong you are. You're wrong on absolutely everything there. And I don't need to explain why, because I've already done it. It's 1500 pages. Steve again. You have more chance of winning the lotto without a ticket than seeing me post on one of your live streams. 7 PM where you are is 2 AM where I am. So bloody what? You're supposed to be Australian, Steve. You're supposed to be a real Aussie bloke. Can't you just stay up a little bit late? Oh dear. If Sue Tompkins can do it, she's Australian. Why can't you? Right, that's the end of the YouTube comments. I'm now going to go over onto BitChute. Now, BitChute actually has notifications. Anyway, I'm going to go through the uploaded videos, but then I'm going to go to the notifications. So we'll go back down to reply to comments part. So we'll go to. Oh, no, we'll go on to the reply to comments because I did actually upload the reply to comments to BitChute. I don't normally do that. Here we are. If I can get it to open. Bear with me, ladies and gents. No comments. Weird Weekend North, part 1 of 2. Come on. So it's just like it's just hourglassing really badly. That may be because I've already started the. All right. Here we go. Andy King says, "Did you ever get to go to the AV conferences?" Yes, I did. I went to 3 of them. I went to 2, 3, and 4. So I did. Yes, thanks. John Doe says, "Great upload, Ben." Thanks, John. Thank you very much. Yeah, BitChute have actually now, I'm pleased to say, got comment notifications. So I will be able to go. I'll go through them in a minute once I've just done the most recent videos. I'll go through to see what comments I've had on other videos, older ones. And here we are, part 2. This is Weird Weekend North, part 2 of 2. Woden20 says, here we go. Hello, Woden. How are you? Oh no, Woden. He's left quite a long comment here. He often posts quite. Oh, we go. Right. Why the UK supports the borderland, the Ukraine, key players in current affairs, along with puppets Zelensky, Petro Poroshenko, oligarch, former president of Ukraine, Vladimir Grossman, Arseny Yatsenuk. There's a list of people here who are involved in Ukraine, and they all have like some. I'm not going to actually say what Woden is actually saying here, but he's making a point about what they all have in common. As you know, I don't agree with that, Woden, but you know, feel free to express it. I mean, I've made a whole video explaining why that's not the case. They Live Watch Party review, no comment. They Live Watch Party live stream. Blah 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 blah. Come on. Loading. Come on. Oh, well. I'll just twiddle my thumbs in them. Okay, it doesn't want to. It doesn't even want to open this page. Play amongst yourselves, guys. Okay, I'm going to try again. No, it doesn't want. Oh, it doesn't want to open. What I'll do is I'll try it in another browser. Let me just try, because I've got another browser open because there's a comment on I want to reply on my other channel, so I've got my other browser open. I'm gonna save this and close it. Save. Come on. All right, the whole computer's running slow now. Right, okay, there we go. Save that. Actually, I think it's because I've got VideoPad open. There we go. Right. I'm just right-clicking. Nothing's happening. Well, I'll go back to the original one. I won't try right-clicking. Oh, here we go. Right. No comments. No comments. Okay. And finally, oh, sorry. No, I've got to do the DMT, the psychedelic one. Fractal Mutant says thanks. Okay, you're welcome, Fractal Mutant. Oops, sorry, I've got to go back to. I've got to go back and get the right thing on my clipboard. You're welcome, Fractal Mutant. Oops, and I want BitChute actually. I just closed BitChute off. Just one more to do now, and then I'll go to the comment notifications. And finally, 1500 UFO pages live stream. Oh, here we go. There's one from Edifo. Let me just click. Edifo says, Ben, just to let you know now that the military plane was a fake plane, right? I think you might be able to find the videos somewhere, and it's clearly not a real plane. And Top Gear once did an episode showing how powerful jet engines are. It was so powerful it could blow cars over. So how these idiots running alongside didn't get blown away, I'll never know. All right, you mean the Afghanistan plane, right? It was a fake plane. Why did they fake it then? Why did they fake the whole Afghanistan withdrawal thing then? If that's the case, I'm open. You know, I'm not going to dismiss what you're saying, Edifo, but I'll need to look into it some more. Okay. I'm just going to go through the notifications. All right, so let's go through these notifications and just go. I'm just going to now go and see if there have been any comments on older videos, on BitChute, which I hadn't done before. Despite the fact despite the fact there's been 2 weeks since the last, just over 2 weeks since the last comments reply video, I must say it's quite remarkable that this is going to probably go to over 3 hours now. I'm probably going to go into the 4th hour. I'll make it a two-parter if that's the case. Right, here we go. Okay, I'm just going down a few of these. I'll go down to the end. Here we go. Oh, I've got a new comment on Jack of the Antarctic. Great. Oh, it's good. It's great having these notifications, isn't it? Okay. Rob Lee Truth says, Man, you repeat the same old lies that have been easily refuted and debunked. It is obvious you're anti-Jesus and God. Dude, you live in a fantasy world of make-believe and fairy tales. How incredibly sad to wake up daily and live a lie. Rob, I'm not anti-God or anti-Jesus at all. And if you really think that these things can be easily refuted and debunked, why don't you do so instead of slagging me off? It's interesting, the only people who are rude to me are the people who can't actually disprove what I say. Ain't that right, eh? And you know it. And it's not sad to wake up and be me. I'm actually quite a happy person, I think, and I don't believe what I believe in is fantasy or fairy tales. And I'll explain why I think they're real. So let's carry on. Keep going now. I've got over 1,000 notifications on BitChute. But thank you, by the way, thank you, BitChute, for sorting out the comments reply notifications. It's very, very good to have the comments notifications for comments now on your new house comments app. Okay, I've gone now 2 weeks ago now. I will go a bit further. I'll have to stop when it gets to about 3 weeks, because then I come to the end of it, because I can't keep scrolling down forever and answering every single comment. Even here we go. The apology. I think I've already done this one. Let's have a look. Apollo Detectives 10. What's this one? Have I replied to this one yet? Here we go. Yeah, okay. So yeah, this is why I mentioned comments reply. Well done, Ray and the team. Alkaline 777 says, "Oh yeah, they were there. You are one of those guys who thinks he knows more than he does. Lol. Here is information you should probably listen to if you want to be informed. William Tompkins, selected by extraterrestrials, part 1 of Project Camelot, Kerry Cassidy 2016. I've seen it, yes. Unfortunately, I wasn't very impressed with Tompkins, I have to say, Alkaline. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't think I know more than I do. I actually know how much I know. But thanks for the comment anyway. I'm not going to watch Tompkins again. I can keep going down. Yeah, that's when I first noticed that there was comments reply notifications now. All right, I've gone down to 3 weeks. I'll give it. Okay, I'm going to give it a rest now. That's BitChute over with. In fact, I will. I'll mark all notifications as read. Okay, mark all as read. And delete all. I'll delete all notifications. There we go. So that's BitChute done. Now on to Odyssey. Now I don't think I've had any comments on Odyssey actually. Let's have a look. Let's double check. How am I doing for time? Yeah, this is actually going to probably be about 3 hours long, which I will make it a two-parter. Oh no, maybe I don't know. I'll see how it goes. Because let's have a look. Yeah, I'll make it a two-parter. I haven't actually don't remember any notifications. I'll just go through them quickly just to see if I missed any. Weird Weekend North Part 1. No comments. Weird Weekend Part 2. Because you see, Odyssey does give you notifications for comments. They only last about 10 days, but you do get them. But when I get Odyssey comments, I always make a note. I always copy and paste them. Or I make a note of the location so I can find them when it comes back. No comments there on review. They Live Watch Party. I'm just going. Sorry, I'll just double check now. DMT Psychedelics. No, it's not opening. Oh, here we go again. I'll just click on it. No comments on that. And finally, 1,500 pages. No comments. Okay, so no comments on Odyssey at all. It's been another maiden over on Odyssey, just like last time. I don't know why that is. Okay, let's go to Rumble. Now, I did actually have a comment which looks quite interesting on Rumble. I remember. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just go through because it's actually all on here in my emails. I'm just check I'm not on screen capture, so I'll just go Rumble. Rumble notifications from Rumble. Here we go. It was only one, I think. It was only one comment I had, but it was, when was it? Let's have a look. I get notifications for my people I sub to on Rumble too. Rumble I like, actually. Someone was recommending brand new tube for me, and I do have some uploads on brand new tube. I've used it, but it's just so it's just on the technical side. It's like BitChute was like when it first started. It's loads of bugs, loads of bugs. Example, you know, I try to upload a video and I say, oh, the file's too big. It's got to be less than 1 gigabyte. I'm looking at it. It's 300 bloody megabytes. What's your problem? All right, if I can't find the comment, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll put here a comment. I'm just searching my emails. BitChute comment, BitChute. Rumble, here we go. Ah, Fireball. This is it. Fireballs. Oh, here we go. I think that's the only one I've got. Yeah, I've only got one Rumble comment. Where was it? Here it is. Right. Here we go, and it's on Psychedelic Lecture in Oxford. It's like I know where to find it now. So, and this is Fireballs are ETVs. Now, and I'll put a little notification here. Now, what I said was, they say, oh, for fuck's sake, I posted the comment below. So bloody only. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh dear, it won't let you. This is an annoying thing about Rumble. Come on, what's wrong? What's wrong with that? It's just a notification. Oh shit. All right. Fireballs or ETV says, I'm back. Please give me an assessment of the above attached Rumble video link. Now this is their channel. Now this is the one here. Dr. Stephen Greer. This video here. I'll show it to you actually. Dr. Stephen Greer, MK Ultra and Gladio, NATO mass murderer, UFO secrets. Now I haven't watched all of this yet, but this is a person. This person actually, I think, wrote to me by email on my public email. If I'm right. If I'm correct. I think if it's the person I'm thinking of. Yeah, oh, it is, right, yes. It's somebody who has been emailing me, and they are who they say they were. In fact, they've actually said so here. They've actually replied to me. Hello, Fireballs. Okay, I'm gonna do a little intro here. This was actually is not part of the original video. I'm just going to insert it here because you know you did want me to respond to this particular video. Dr. Stephen Greer indeed was attacked. He got cancer. His friend was killed. It appears there's something suspicious about that. I do accept that. I've seen a story about it. I read in his book and from other people have told me about his healing, about how he lost his friend and things like that. You then include in this video you're not actually the uploader. It's someone else on Rumble called Covert Fascist Oligarchy, which is a good name, and you show some segments from the citizens' hearing on UFO disclosure in 2013. You show Dr. Stephen Greer talking, and then Grant Cameron. And Grant Cameron keeps repeating about how the Rockefellers wrote to the Clintons asking for disclosure. But you intersperse this with several stories of cult death, Heaven's Gate, and then this other one in Paris, in France, or somewhere near Paris in France. Now, or somewhere in France. Sorry, I don't know if I got that right. I'm not exactly sure how these things are related. Perhaps you could explain, because it's a little bit confusing. I don't quite understand that. Okay, so no worries. I mean, I'm having a private conversation with this person, and I'll go into that some more. Anyway, that's Rumble done. Okay, so now I'm going to go to. I don't have anything uploaded to Brighteon yet, but I have a comment on my backup channel, video. It's the only upload I've actually put on there, because the backup channel is just really a provisional location at the moment, because I've still got my main channel for now. And Charles from Project Camelot says, absolute rubbish. All right, Charles. And so I've put a comment here on my other account. All right, so thanks very much for that, Charles from Project Camelot. Okay, so then we'll just go back to BitChute, and it's going to be just inside 3 hours. Oh, just inside 3 hours. Oh, and I'm still on comments reply capture. Okay, here we go. Right, okay. So I'll just refresh, see if I've got anything extra, and I'll go to my notifications. All right. No extra ones there. Okay, so now I'll go to Here we go. Okay. Come on. I just realised I might have to edit this because... Okay, so let me just refresh that. Because I just realised I might have actually had it on screen capture and I'm showing you my emails, which is not a good idea.
Okay.
But what I'll do is I'll simply make it an audio. I'll just do that. Hang on, here we go. All right. Okay, so we have here some new extra comments. Only two, right? Only one, actually. Only one comment that's been made while I've been doing my particular, this particular comments reply video. Musketeer says, thanks, Ben. By the way, there's no issue over a ride using an alloy because SpaceX's new Starship designed for the Moon and Mars is made of steel. All right. Okay. You know, am I wrong about you being Julian? If you know, because you can sometimes be quite nice to me. If I'm wrong about you being Julian, then I'm very sorry. I'll see how it goes anyway. Because you seem to be a bit like Jekyll and Hyde. All right. Anyway, I do apologise if I have made a mistake, but still. Anyway, that is the end of this comments reply video, guys. The 57th one. Thank you for all your comments. Needless to say, it's obvious that this video wouldn't happen if you didn't make comments. So I very much appreciate you making them. Very much appreciate you making them indeed. I'll just stop this now. I don't need this anymore because I think my timer's about to go off. We're dead on 3 hours. Yes, indeed. Right. Okay. So I'll just click stop that. Obviously, you know, without your input, there would be no comments reply video. So thank you very much, all of you. Really appreciate that. And I will definitely, I'll definitely be doing another one soon of these. I'll try not to let it go too long because if just over 2 weeks gives me a 3-hour video, I'm gonna have to start doing them literally on fortnight by fortnight. But anyway, there's more coming up. I'm actually going to be away next weekend. I'm going on a trip. You'll soon find out what it is because I will be making a HPANWO TV reportage of it. I can't tell you what it is just yet. But next weekend I'm going to be away. And before then, there will be another upload. I'll probably do my introduction video for the next watch party. And I've decided what film it's going to be. I think you'll like it. In fact, someone requested it, so I know at least one of you will like it. Also, straight away, as soon as I get back, because I'm coming back on Monday, and by that time the French general election for the president will be over, and I'll be doing a live stream about the French election, regardless of the result. So that may well be Monday evening or Tuesday. It depends when the result comes in. I'll check. If it's Monday evening, I'll put up a notification before I go away. If not, then I'll put a notification up Monday evening when I get home. For the comments reply for the live stream to be on Tuesday. That's Tuesday week. So that's a preview of upcoming events. Thank you all for watching HPANWO TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.